are we doing? I've got everything. Little guys moving around. Got crickets up there. This is good. What is this? Dance of the Gypsies by Hanu Dixit. Not bad. Woo! Why? No video. Well, that's odd. Okay, so I can be heard by the looks of it. According to this, I can be seen, but I'm not seeing it on my actual channel. Oh, not cockroaches. Okay, so you can see what's going on. Is that right? Because I've got nothing on my screen's not showing me anything. This is a sitar dream. It's kind of fun stuff. All right, so I've just got to, when I look at my Twitch stream, I just get a blank screen. So I'm going to have to just, I'm flying blind here. Yes, we can hear, we can, and hear everything. Good. Well, Wolf Pup may be tired due to very tough gym and bad weather, plus possibly a cold. Oh no, Wolf Pup, that sucks. All right, let's get you in here. Let me go, let me pull this down. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. I want volume. Okay, a little bit. Like a little bit of music, maybe. All right. Okay. Who have we got in here? Who can I be saying hi to? Heather on the Hill. Wolf Pup, of course. Nixie Geek. Drameja. Woot woot. Nixie Geek. Bopping along. Sarah Owen. Hello from Wales. Oh, Wales. Lovely Wales. Haven't been there for years. We used to go every summer. Summers in Wales, because, you know, they're lovely. What else we got here? Is that a cockroach? No, it's a house cricket, is actually what it's called. And I'll tell you all about them in a second. Let me get rid of this. Okay. All right, that's enough of our sitar music. There's only so much sitar I can deal with. Oh. Now I get calls from people. Oh, that's from my little sister, but I won't talk to her right now because I'm very busy, obviously. She's not going to stop, though. She's gonna keep trying. Now it's going through on the computer as well. That's why it'll eventually figure itself out. Okay, so why the heck do I have these little guys on my chat? Well, here's the deal. I'm about to murder my computer behind me here. There we go. Look at these guys. Kind of cool looking things, I got to say. See if I can find this little fella. He's looking a little chipper. Let's see how... There, look at him. Okay, let's call him Jimmy. Jiminy Cricket. So some people have drug dealers. I have a bug dealer. No, I don't. I've got an entomologist friend who gets a bunch of these things. And the weird thing about this is that, in a strange way, I've kind of saved them from an even worse fate. I am about to use these as food and prey for our gecko, because I am worried that our gecko is getting very sedentary, and you know, he's supposed to be out there leaping from tree to tree trying to capture insects and stuff. So I thought, well, let's give him some crickets to hunt. So that was the idea, which I've got to say still makes me feel a bit, not squeamish, but it makes me feel a little, you know, I just feel a little bad about it. So But the reality is, here's what would have happened. Here's what would have happened to these crickets. My entomologist friend, he breeds these little flies for his acoustic experiments and stuff. And what they do is they latch. So he basically cuts open these flies, takes the little embryo things, sticks them onto a cricket, and then they burrow into the cricket. They eat the insides of the cricket, and they come out as a fully formed wormy thing. You know, classic alien stuff. So I have basically, these now have a, these now stand a fighting chance. It's the most dangerous game for them. They will be unleashed into our gecko cage, not en masse. I think I'll just give them maybe a couple at a time, something like that. And the idea was to do this while Jane wasn't here, because Jane made it very clear that she's not a fan of house crickets. I'll tell you why. Because we used to have millions of them, and when we were living in LA, in Santa Monica, certain times of the year we would have literally swarms of these like black, inky, oily, black looking crickets that would sort of cheerfully chirp their way into our house. And you just see, like, literally just seas of these things would show up in the kitchen in the evening and stuff. It was really, it's kind of creepy. Of course, little did I know, I should have just got them so that my future gecko that we hadn't bought yet could eat them. Of course, not my gecko. It's Baz's gecko. Yeah, just like it's Baz's dog. Ha! Anyways, so I've got a little box of crickets, and my entomologist friend grabbed a handful for me. So I will, I wanted to share all the joys of cricketry with you. And so far they're a box. There's a little bit of water in them. There's a little bit of cat food. Apparently they like the cat food. And that's about all I have to do. And then I just have to figure out how to get them one at a time into a gecko's cage. Or even better, I think, what I'll probably do is I'll put them in the refrigerator for a little while, slow them down, and then pop them in when they're a little colder. I do not know what is going on in that computer behind me, so I'm going to go have a look. Bye. What are you doing? Oh my God. 6 messages. Okay, somebody wants to get a hold of me. Let's see what's going on. I'm looking. I'm still looking. I may, if this is my little sister, I may have to go and talk to her. Am I logged in on this? What's this? Oh! All right, now that's quite nice. So that is my little sister thanking me, by the looks of it, for the gift cards. So she shops at this ridiculous, like, cheap grocery store, because she's the master of all things frugal, and I couldn't find gift certificates for there anywhere. So I took the dog on a long rambling walk with my friend Jimmy Key, James Cruz Crow Scratch, who a writer friend of mine, and he, a very talented writer friend, I might add. And so we went off of this long rambling walk to figure, Jane's on camera. Oh, she probably doesn't want to be on camera. I wonder if Jane knows that she's in the Stargate cam. Maybe I'll turn the Stargate cam off just in case, she decides to start doing some kind of exotic dancing for me or something. That happens a lot. Okay, let's see. Logitech, is that the one? Let's do that one. Did I get that one? Is that the right one? Not that one. Let's try this one. If I don't see that one. There you go. Okay, so it's just crickets. Just us and crickets. Chirp, 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 chirp. It's what everyone dreams of. Every nightmare. It's so weird that I'm not seeing anything. It's weird that I'm not seeing anything on this in the way of video for my Twitch stream, which is really odd. I don't know what the deal on that is. Oh, you know why? Because it's trying to go through all sorts of VPNs and things, and I should just stop that. Let's just stop that. Okay, how are my crickets doing? They're moving. There's definitely some movement in there. I don't know if you catch them at all, but there's definitely some stuff going on. Does this freak people out? Do people not? I could live without insects, I think, but they're just kind of the closest thing to aliens I think we've got, aren't they? Like, look at them. Amazing things. Who's that over there? Oh, hello. It's all the little. It's like the long tendril. It's all the little. Oh, what about these guys? Oh, I don't want to hurt anybody. There we go. That's a look at that. Ooh, look at all those guys. Somebody's having some fun in there. Look at that. They're all hiding away. They're like, nothing to see here. Let's see if I can zoom in on these a little bit more. There you go, sort of. I don't want to freak them out with too much light, but maybe I can put a little bit of light on them. Maybe not. That doesn't work very well, does it? Just reflects off the box. Okay. Anyway, so there's my little cricket friends. Oop, hello. I mean, they're just cool, aren't they? I mean, creepy. It's the long, tendrily little bits at the front that really get me. Let's see how everyone is. Like I say, for some reason, my Twitch stream is not working on the laptop here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Because it's... oh, okay. I see. I've definitely been having some Wi-Fi reception issues of late. I think someone must have changed someone around us must have got a more powerful... Oh, God, that's a horrible image. Good Lord, that's a nightmare that's a crawling nightmare of horror. Why didn't you people tell me? Oh my God, that's horrendous. Ugh, it's just a seething mass of bodies. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty neat. We get Cricket Mageddon every September, October in Texas. It's so gross. Yeah, land lobsters. Well, kind of, because we're sort of eating them, aren't we? Wolf Pup. For someone who has a tiny fear of bugs, this is hard to watch. Is it? Okay. Well, I can stop now that I've given them a little attention. They don't need any more. It's fine. What do I want to get rid of then? I guess I want to get rid of this. There you go. Okay. Oh, now I've got that back. God damn it. What do I try to get rid of now? Do I get rid of that now? There you go. Okay. And what if I just become bigger? There you go. See? Isn't that better? Just more me. More me all the time. That's what I say. Here we go. I am like on the cusp of a migraine again today. It's that weird thing with this hot weather that I suck in hot weather. I suck in cold weather. I just suck. That's it. Basically, I'm a spring fall guy, and that's it. All right, let me just hop into the chat and see if we could freak out any tech bandits. Here we go. Now, speaking of the tech bandits, this Tech Bandit servers. Where am I going? Watch party? Streaming? Is it? Where do I normally go? Streaming? What do I normally go to in this thing? I'm on the wrong server again, aren't I? So, that's what I was going to say. There you go. Hey, Vibe Pup. How are you, man?
All right, can you hear me?
Do you hear him? Do I hear him? Hey, Vibe Pup.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Very far away. You sound very distant and slightly, I don't know, under the weather.
Okay, I just moved it a little closer.
It's a nice quality. It just feels very low. Maybe I should put your volume up a bit. Can I do that? I think I can do that, actually, can't I? Let me just do that. Use your volume. You're going up, buddy. Try that. Talk now.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, that's way better. Way better. How are you, Vibe Pup? What's up?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad?
I've been going on a bunch of really long walks lately, and then we had the beep test. We had to do push-ups and stuff. So yeah, school.
Oh, like physical exercise stuff.
Yeah, and then I think I have a cold.
So you've basically worn yourself out and got a cold.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's exercise. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. It's so good, though. If you can get into the habit of it then, it's so much easier. I keep saying that to Baz. Like, it's like, of course, no one ever listens to you because you're old. But just if you can make it a habit to be fit, it's just one giant part of your life taken care of so well. You sleep better. You get more done. You're smarter. There's all sorts of stuff there. If you can get used to it. For some reason, I find with the school, there tends to be just like, they go like, okay, we're going to do all the exercise for the year in this one day. And they all do like, they have these big like track and field days and stuff. And everyone exhausts themselves. How did are you taking a what's it called? Phys ed course or something? Or what do they call it?
No, it's just that they didn't do stuff. They didn't plan it out and do it over the year. So they're just like hitting us with everything right now.
Oh no, they're checking all their boxes. Yep. Did we teach them push-ups? Yes, check. And we did it all on the same day. I see. And you're not feeling well. You mean you feel like you got a bit of a cold, or what are your symptoms?
Really runny nose.
Oh, I get allergies. Could it be that?
That's what I think, but it also could be like allergies and
Are you
like
getting any smoke from the fires there?
not that I see.
Oh, okay. All right. Because, I don't think they're. Where are they? They're in Halifax, aren't they? Around Halifax? There's some
Uh,
crazy forest fires going on across Canada, actually. There's some in Halifax, there's some out in the prairies, and I don't know if BC's got it or not yet, but it's like insane. It's just been so hot, I guess, right? I watched a
I
movie when I was a kid, years and years, like 1,000 years ago, and it was like when the Earth caught fire. It was called, and it was like the whole world was on fire, and so we had to go into submarines and go underwater. And uh, I just remember always thinking like there's something kind of strangely cool about it because of that movie. The idea that we only could live underwater now because of all the heat from the flames of our planet. But of course, now that I'm actually living it, I'm not enjoying it quite so much. You know, it seems sort of cool and apocalyptic in when you're a kid and you don't have to worry about it. But now I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Why is everything on fire? Oh, they're near Brisbane as well. They when you say Briz, you mean Brisbane, Shan? Is not again. Really? Yeah, I think that is the movie that they test. I think they tested and yeah, I think they nuked something in the sky and the sky caught fire or something. That was the premise of the movie, I think. But it was I remember loving that. It was like one of those
What
late
is
night movies, you know.
what is this submarine movie that I need to watch?
Oh, it's I would not say it's technically accurate in any way, Malventano.
Listen, no submarine movie is technically
Well,
accurate.
this one's so far away from it that I think it could might as well be made of cardboard. But it was one called I think it was called like the day the Earth caught fire or something like that. Something like that. I'm looking. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be on your Plex somewhere, doesn't it?
Oh, probably.
Day the Earth caught fire.
The Day the Earth Caught Fire in 1961. Oh, that's an
Yeah, that
oldie.
sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With
Okay.
nobody famous in it that I'm aware of.
All right.
So there you
I'll
go.
watch
So
it.
it was. Look, I saw it when I was 10. So
Listen, man, like it might be, there might be some nuggets. You'd be surprised. The weirdest things that you would expect to be a complete joke as far as like accuracy,
mm,
sometimes they get it right and
uh,
in surprising fashion, you know.
yeah, no, my issue was just more the science of the Earth catching fire. I think was the one that was
Yeah, yeah,
funny.
yeah.
But
No, that's cool.
we see it's funny. Like one of the things I wanted to talk about in our in my little sci-fi thing was about how sci-fi movies are so influenced by the times, right? The politics and of the times. And it's just so funny how a lot of there was this sort of disaster movie, this sort of this time frame where everything was a disaster movie. Everything was catching fire or falling out of the sky or all this kind of stuff. And it sort of went out of vogue for a while. But what's weird is how strangely sort of prescient some of this stuff was given given where we are now, you know?
That's so funny. Yeah, it comes into and out of fashion, the whole taking care of the planet thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's so passé.
Well, it's funny because it was sort of seen as well when I was growing up. It was seen as oh, for God's sake, phone, shut up. Is it the phone? Oh my God. Uh, Here we go. I mean, I got because I've got right because Jane's been away, so I've kept my phone on loud so that when she calls, I don't miss her.
So you don't
Uh,
get in trouble.
and now she's here. I just turn it off. So it's I figure she could bang on the window or something if she needs me. So you know. What did you do for exercise on a submarine?
Oh, there's a couple of treadmills, there's a weight bench, and a couple exercise bikes, that kind of thing.
And you would just like, well, you just like book time as you went along.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could do just regular, people would maintain their own, whatever they wanted their workout routine to be. It wasn't really structured. It was just sort of on your own, you know, on your own accord, right? They didn't do the military like
Calisthenics or anything.
evaluations. They didn't do that on the sub. They did
Oh,
it
okay.
when you were off the sub, like because it was two crews and they traded back and forth. So when you had your 3 or 4 months not on the submarine, then you had to follow the regular regulations and PT and all the typical military kind of stuff,
Which
right?
you
But
would do with other men in the at the barracks or something. I mean, is it?
well, if they were at the barracks, it was the kind of stuff that you see in the movies, as far as like the structured physical training kind of
Right,
thing, tends to
right,
happen more when you're junior.
right.
Like as as you get through the ranks and whatnot, they kind of like it kind of turns into, hey, know how to take care of it. You're mature enough to stay in shape on
Well, I
your
guess
own.
it becomes
So
a habit too. I'm sure, right? I mean, this is what I was saying to Vibe Pop.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, if you can make it, if you can get used to exercising at an early age and make that just a part of your day, it's just so much easier later on. I mean, all the guys who were like fat and unfit when I was in school are all like, fit and far healthier than I am now because they've always had to exercise, right? So
Well,
like,
either that or they've had a scare or two happen to them,
yeah,
right?
maybe
Because
I
that tends to happen too, right? Like if you put yourself in that place, then eventually life kind of turns around and kicks you in the butt sometimes and gives you a little wake up call there, and
I
then you
get
go, oh,
scares all the time. I'm terrible. They're good for scaring me for a little bit, and then it's like I forget very quickly and go back to my chocolate and my
Then it's
no,
like Peter and the Wolf, right?
exactly.
yeah.
How
Hey,
are you,
Lance,
Lance?
I watched your video the other
Everybody.
day. Congratulations on your being YouTube famous there.
Why, thank you,
He's
sir.
like
Thank
Google
you.
famous. He's Google
It's like
famous.
Google famous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
infamous, as I would say. But
That was a really well put together video too. Like it was, man.
Right?
did they tell you how much money they spent on it? Like, what did they like? What did it? Do you know what it cost?
It, I, I don't know. I
Oh,
really
okay.
don't.
Oh, okay.
It had to have been
It,
well over
it,
a
it,
100,000
I
because
mean, it was, yeah, it was. I mean, you watched it, right, David?
Yeah,
Like
multiple
you, I mean,
times.
I mean, you could tell there's some production value went into that thing. Like they didn't
Yeah,
just like, knock that thing out on a weekend.
they
Clearly.
redecorated his entire room, right, Lance?
they redecorated that. They rented out space from neighbors and across the street. They had a truck that provided their internet. They ended up having to sneak from us anyway. They said, "Don't give it to everybody. Just give it to us." The password
Wait,
because we got the fiber. Go ahead.
wait, because they didn't have. They brought their own internet truck. What?
Yes.
Were they?
It's Google. They bring the dark web to you.
But were they? Well, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have like, oh yeah, we'll just light up some of that fiber we've laid down there for the last God knows how long. But because they were what? Because they were streaming this stuff back to people somewhere else or something, or
Yeah, I've got some interesting like insider info. Like the suits did not want it to be funny
right.
or like have any kind of
Well, Suits worried that there could be any
warmth for
kind of
humanity.
There was still some comedic flair in the way that
yeah. The
was
whole
put
thing was
together.
Yeah.
comedic. I thought. I mean, like it
Yeah.
seemed. Yeah.
I mean, it was a serious story as well, but they kept it
Right.
interesting, right?
It was
Yeah.
just so everyone knows what we're talking about. There was Lance was a big part of this thing called Game Face, which is Google's Project Game Face, which is a use of media pipe. Is that right? Media pipe? Is that the right? That's
Right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And this is all in a way thanks to Stargate because I worked with
Thanks to
Lawrence.
David.
Well, it was Lawrence was doing these AI, these what sort of silly, fun AI Stargate scripts that we were doing, and of course, me being a nerd went, "Oh my God, you work for Google and you're into AI? I want to talk to you." So we had, long chats about how little I know, and then when when Lance was talking about how could he use his mouse better, we were like, well, who better to talk to than the wizard of AI, the AI guy at Google? So, yeah, it worked out. It worked out well. But yeah, I would say,
And he's literally the wizard. It's cool.
yeah, they call
But
him. What do they call him? They call him.
At Google, they call him the wizard.
They do call him the wizard.
So-
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I've seen.
Yeah.
Actually, David probably seen some of this too. Well, maybe not the others. Well, yeah, you would have seen both sides of it, right, David? Like back when I was at Intel, if they'd be doing a commercial shoot, for example, they would have like a feed going to
Yeah.
several of the other execs and whatnot, and they'd
Yeah, it
watch
depends
like,
what
as
you're
the shoot
working
was
on.
happening, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Well,
probably
we
did
did
the
that
same
on
sort
C.
of thing.
We did that on C.
Yeah.
On C, we had. I mean, it was a little less. It was low tech. It was like, it was like someone walking around with an iPhone. But it was basically the same thing where they would show them what was
I'm
going
talking
on.
about is they're showing you the actual feed from the camera shooting,
Yeah.
right? And and so, and then there'll be some of the people, somebody will chime in from above and give notes, right, or whatever. Hey, try to do it this way, or whatever, almost like they're the director, even though they're not, right? You get all these armchair director people.
Well, when you're
Like
dealing with a
chiming in there, makes sense.
commercial, when you're dealing with a commercial, it doesn't matter who's directing in a way. I mean,
Right,
because
right.
I mean, unless they just give it right over to them. I mean, the reality is that it's all about the client, right? So,
Yeah,
but on film and TV stuff, I mean, look, I lost my temper on set the other day because there were three people yelling out what I should be doing in a scene, and I finally said, shut the f up.
yeah.
And I want to hear from the
Pick one.
director because the director is the one who's supposed to be telling me what to do, and that's why I'm here. So everyone else should shut
Right.
up, And they were, well, I'm producer. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not here for the director, so whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, because otherwise you have too many voices. You have too many voices going. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
David's already got 4 voices in his head.
I got
He
many
doesn't need
voices.
4 more.
I don't need more voices. It's true. The last thing I need is more voices. It's so true.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do a shoot, on a particular scene that doesn't necessarily have good upstream internet, then they probably would just bring their own truck, right? Just for that reason
Yep.
alone.
That's so funny. I would have thought that. I mean, yeah, that just feels so antiquated to me. You know what I mean? Like the idea that you actually have to do that.
Food trucks.
Well, I mean, think about
They
it.
have food trucks as well.
They're putting all
Yeah.
this upfront. They've got. It's the same thing for any other set, right? You've got all this cost per minute, literally going on there. Do you want like crappy internet to be the one thing that drags the whole thing to a halt, right? It's better to invest in just having a truck.
I bet you the director didn't want the truck. I bet you the director was like, "How far away can we go that they can't see it?"
I wish. He had some really good ideas. Like when they show the plains of Colorado, he wanted to have that like hawk noise, like caw.
Right. But they wouldn't let you do that.
No.
That's weird.
And I had some zingers in there because I got to help write the script.
Right.
So I had some good stuff in there.
I put a link into the in the chat now to anyone who wants to see the video. James Gurney, prima donna David made an appearance. Yep, I did.
Actually, Cal beat you to it there, David, in the chat.
Oh, what did she say? Oh, they're already there. Oh, great.
She put the link. Yeah.
God, she's good. Damn, she's good. I'm talking to Cal about doing some of these cameo style, chat for pay things.
You've got to.
Well, I kind of got to now, really. I mean, it's not looking good. I mean, film and TV wise right now, it's like, oh boy, talk about, ha-ha! It's, or even crickets for that matter.
This is funny. David,
there's a
someone in the
strike.
chat's asking you, how do you stay in such confined spaces on a submarine for so long? I don't know. How do you stay sane? And have you been in a submarine before?
I don't. as can be attested to, Grace Under Pressure, I am not good in small confined spaces. I tend to hit my head and talk to myself, right? Or hit on myself even. It's a weird thing. Yeah.
David, if you're ever in either Bangor, Washington, or like near Savannah, Georgia, like Jacksonville, Florida, if you're in either one of those two corners, hit me up and I will try to pull some very old strings and see if I can get them to give you a tour.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. I mean, it's funny. I was invited when we were in not Anaheim. We were in San Diego for Comic-Con, and we were invited. We couldn't. Unfortunately we were home before we could do it. But there was some military dolphin training out there. And we got invited to go that, and I was like, "We gotta stay! I want to see the dolphins!" But we couldn't. But
well, wait. Yeah. Hold on. If it was submarines, they might have been saying dolphins in that when you qualify submarines, you get your dolphins. It's the pin that you wear.
Oh, that's interesting.
When you've qualified all of the aspects of the
I think
submarine.
they were talking about dolphins. I mean,
okay.
Unless there was a lot of drinking involved, so it's possible. It's possible they might have just been talking about pins, and they're like going, "Why is the Stargate guy talking about freaking dolphins?"
Dude, yeah, because if it was submariners that were talking to you and they said dolphins, they were probably talking about the pin, and they actually
don't crush my dreams. Don't crush. In my imagination, I'm swimming with dolphins, man. I don't want some pins.
Dude,
nice.
You don't get it. That probably would have been a cooler experience for you.
Why? The dolphins are what? What are the dolphins?
Because so sometimes the Navy does that as sort of like, when someone gets like an honorary doctorate kind of thing, right? Yeah. It's kind of like that.
I'm waiting for someone to give me one.
Well, so the Navy sometimes will do like an honorary pinning, like they'll give somebody an honorary set of dolphins, like the pin, as if you qualified on submarines. But in order to achieve that, the sort of distilled down version of that tour that they would give you is they would basically teach you every single aspect of the submarine that they were able to
Oh, that's
within like a day. They would give you a tour and you would talk to every single expert of every single system on the submarine.
So you get a crash course,
And
basically.
then you would get this crash course, and then at the end of it, you might get a pin. Right.
Oh, wow.
And usually that's a thing that the Navy people have to spend like upwards of a year training to do.
So they must
But they'll-
hate people like me.
No, it's fine because it's it's like you got a famous person on board and you kind of like just smile and nod and you go, yeah, that's cool, give them the pin, right?
Right.
Um,
Let's see what happens when the Earth catches fire and we all have to live in submarines. See how good he does then.
yeah, well then he'll really learn. But for
There's
now,
no way
for
out
now,
of
he can
here.
have the pin.
Has anyone been watching Silo, by the way? Has anyone watched that yet?
Oh, I have.
No.
It's not a submarine, but it's basically, I guess, civilization has moved underground for some reason. It's based on a book called Wool, which I read and quite liked. I mean, it wasn't my favorite sci-fi, but it was some fun stuff. But Apple has a series of it now, so there's one of my favorite movies of all time is Das Boot, though. Like that was brilliant.
So we can answer Hard 7-2's question.
What do we got?
Or at least I can, right? How do you stay sane on a submarine?
Go. Yeah.
You just find crap to do. I mean, it's actually
you
very
learned how to
boring.
use a nuclear reactor.
Well, I mean, that was what I was doing for my quote unquote day job, right? But you still have to figure out how to pass the time when you're not doing that. And depending on what's going on, sometimes the rest of the time is very boring, or sometimes it's very exciting and doing lots of drills and training and other stuff. So like, but as far as staying sane, you just have to learn how to cope with having 120 men all in effectively the same house.
See, I'm out already. I can't do it.
For 3 months.
For me, tall fences make good neighbors. I'm like all about like as far away from. Jane will not buy a semi-detached house with me because she knows I'll just like I can't stand the sound of other people. I am an absolute hermit when it comes to that stuff.
No, you don't have a choice there, buddy. Even when you're in your bunk sleeping, like there's other people in the bunk room coming and going, and like the curtains are opening and closing, and like
is
not
something. I'm sure you could get used to it, but I have no intention of it.
Yeah, and if you value your sleep, no, it's not for you.
Oh, really? But I guess sleep is hard because you're basically at the whims of everyone else.
Yeah, you get woken up at all sorts of times, right? You really can't, you're lucky if you get like a full, sometimes you'll get a full 6 hours and you're kind of like fortunate as far as sleep.
Really? What was that?
Yeah.
I hear squawking. What's the squawking?
Oh, I don't know.
The squawking's probably Chitin talking.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right, very good.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I thought maybe we had what's his name?
No, he just got done exercising, so he's like,
oh, great. So he's lauding it over everybody.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing in the email of Awesome Awesomeness where they put a slime mold in charge of a robot?
That is so cool.
Isn't that wild? And it would just take itself off into dark, dank corners. I was like, that's like Lance.
It's true.
Given a choice, he'd take himself off into the dark corners.
The Schrodinger cat thing was actually a like a slam at.
Yeah, he was complaining about his own theory. Yeah.
No. It wasn't his theory even. He was making fun of quantum mechanics.
Right.
So that's how a genius. Oh yeah, I suppose I could just throw this cat in here, and now it's not dead or alive because nobody observed it. Something like that.
But wasn't he responsible for coming up with a lot of this stuff in the first place?
I don't know, but I know the conference that they went to, and that was his presentation to show.
Everyone hated it. Everyone hated quantum mechanics. Absolutely hated it. They thought it was the most wacky, crazy, BS-y stuff out there. I mean, and I don't blame them because it just sounds like madness. Absolute and yet it's a part of all of the screen I'm looking at uses quantum mechanics. I mean, any screen, any LCD screen would be using it. LCD, LED. I mean, it's just extraordinary stuff. But yes, I thought it was very funny that it was like this was a joke that he made about how stupid it was, and it's become like the thing that everyone has latched onto. This idea It's such an iconic idea, and I think it's also it gets people's imagination. It gets like kids that like the reason why I use that in there is that every kid I talk to talks about the cat, right? The Schrodinger cat, because it's a concept that they can see and they can realize is absurd, basically. Yeah, I thought it was well, and what's so weird about it now is I don't know if you know about this, Malvitano, but there's they've basically created this tiny shard of sapphire, and they've jiggled it into a dual position. So it's something that is it's still microscopic, it's still tiny, but I guess you could almost see it with your eye. But it's like I can't remember what it is, like the quarter of a I can't remember what I said, but whatever it is, like it's not, it weighs less than an eyelash. But what's funny is that they're pushing the bounds of how far quantum mechanics can be pushed into the sort of the more classical world. And so they call they call this crystal, they say, is in the cat state because it's in both states at the same time, and it sort of wiggles. But if it's wiggling, wouldn't it be wiggling between positions? But if it's wiggling,
that has to be what they're saying. It seems to be, at least by our measurement capabilities, both to the left and to the right, assuming you're jiggling
at the same
it
time.
left and right.
But if it's jiggling, that means it's not in the same position, right? Because if it's jiggling, it means it's moving back and forth. So I don't quite understand that. But then,
well,
first
the idea is to make it big enough. Yeah, right. Like, for that sapphire. Was it sapphire? For whatever that's.
I think it was sapphire. I'll have to check. Let me check. Let me check my notes.
Well, because you. Oh yeah, your note thing. I forgot. Yeah. Because usual quantum like experiments. I mean, you're talking like single atomic scale.
That's
right?
what that's why this was so big. I was surprised people didn't make more out of this, to be honest, because I was like, this is kind of huge, literally huge, in that it's big for quantum.
I see the article, Scientific American, Schrodinger's cat, biggest ever Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty wild. And I think it was sapphire. Is it sapphire? Did you find out if it was sapphire or not? I think it is sapphire.
Yeah, so they're talking about macroscopic quantum states. So macroscopic is the thing where you just have a larger item as opposed to microscopic, which would just be like the single item.
It weighs about half an eyelash.
Hey, that's huge. That's huge compared to
exactly. Well, so one of the things that came up in my little brain with this stuff is first off, I always keep in mind this quote that I love that Feynman said, which was that if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. He was great. I read a bunch of his. Lance, did you ever read his books? He is. I mean,
no.
I didn't read his scientific stuff. That's too complicated for me. But he read
some of his lectures are online.
His life story stuff. He wrote an autobiography. Well, not an autobiography. So he wrote these little autobiographical short stories. And Lance, you would love them because he's such a character. He has like one on like how to pick up women, and like he's a physicist.
Nice.
Like he's just he has a whole one about his wife dying of cancer and talking about that. And
he's one of those talents that like I've learned from his ability to. I mean, I have to do that kind of stuff for my job, right? You take really super complicated topics and you're trying to explain them to average people, right? And that is. And as far as Feynman goes, that's a gift. Like he's just got that gift. He's extremely good at it, right?
He's also a showman too. Like I feel like he liked being in the limelight. I mean, there was a great. The classic for me was when they were talking about how the space shuttle exploded, and he took a piece of rubber and he bent it, and then he took it and he dumped it in his ice water, and then he pulled it back out and he snapped it, and he said, "This is too cold." And you know what I mean? Like, so it's that, and everyone's like, because of course, I mean, he probably had thought about it for long times before that. But the reality is that he had a way of like crystallizing that for people, and it's funny. I watched a couple of his lectures years and years and years ago. I should go back to them because I think I might actually understand a little bit more of it now. But it's just the quantum thing for me that really blows my mind is, and that this brought up for me, that's why I put it in the email, was where is that line between the quantum and the classical world? Like, where does it, at some point, we seem to have different ways, or is, in my, like, completely just a gut feeling is that we've got something wrong. But I guess that's everyone's opinion of quantum mechanics. But like at some point we're going to get to a stage where you go like, oh, it stops here. This is the line between quantum and classical. But that can't be, right? So
no, like eventually our understanding of it will get to the point where it blurs the line, and you have enough of an understanding of it where it's no longer like two separate things.
Yeah.
It's just like a unified thing, right?
And I mean, for losers like me, the basic understanding I have is like there's the microscopic or the atomic level, which is doing one thing, and once you get too big for that, you start applying all the classical rules to it.
And so I can play this back to like how people think about how reactors work, right? Like I had to operate a reactor as my job on the sub, right? But when I was in the school for it, they started with the atomic level thing, right? But you can't try to understand how the reactor is going to work overall just focusing at such a low level, right? Eventually, you have to sort of distill things into larger concepts so that you can just so your brain can apply them, right? Like I can't just sit there at a reactor control panel and go, oh, if I do this, that'll happen. If all I'm thinking about is particle physics,
right?
Right.
Well, that's like behavioral science, where it's like I can tell you exactly what a group of people are going to do. I can't tell you what a single person will do.
Right. Well, and that also plays out. Believe it or not, the whole quantum thing tends to play out even for the case of trying to run a reactor, because there's plenty of things that it's all about probabilities.
Right.
Right. It's like this thing might have fusion. There's this much of a chance, but you're not just operating on what one particle is going to do, right? You're operating on what's this entire reactor full of them going to do, right? And so you have to sort of, and so whenever you talk about these quantum principles of like, okay, this thing might be in this state, it might be in this other state, if you just look at it from the point of like probabilities of these things, then you apply it more broadly to like, okay, how is this other thing going to behave?
Or don't look at it. If you look at it, it'll change.
That's the other thing, right? If you tried to look at some of these things, you're actually determining their state because you're observing it.
You're
right?
basically measuring it. But again, that seems absurd to me as well. It just seems absolutely absurd. Yet it's been provable over and over again. Just even with the two slit experiment where they're firing atoms. What's up, Lance?
You're not thinking about it.
Go ahead, Lance.
Well, okay. You know how if you're in a VR game, they don't show you the outside of your vision? Like the graphics levels go down. Like it goes down to 6 or 720p because you can't see high def out there.
Right.
So they're saving a processing tool. If by chance we were in what do they call that? Simulation, then wouldn't it make sense that they don't have to be in one state or the other? In fact, they don't have to worry about rendering, stuff on that infinite test.
Why render that reality if it's that small?
Until we start looking at it, then they start doing it. Like, shit, there's still some glitches in the code.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun, Lance. I mean,
I just thought of it.
It's pretty out there, but I like it. That's definitely the stuff of science fiction, for sure.
There's a guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, but if it'll let me, I think I can put a link to the guy's YouTube channel. He does these optical experiments. He has a lot of background in like optical lenses and working with lasers and light and stuff like that. And he's been doing like quantum experiments like in his garage. Like, because he can mess with interference patterns and like he knows how all the light will respond, and he can do like he did it like his own low-tech version of like the double slit experiment, like with lasers, and and interferometers and things like that, right? And I just put the link in the chat.
Tunneling?
He didn't do quantum tunneling, but quantum tunneling is actually something that I know how to explain.
I saw a guy shine a light through a basketball. Like, it was weird the way he said this experiment. But you can see a pinpoint of light. I don't know. Well,
how does the quantum tunneling work, Melvin?
I'll have to find. There is a really good video that talks about SSDs. Believe it or not, talks about how SSDs store information, because that also is using quantum tunneling. So, to store bits in an SSD, you have to cause electrons to move through an insulator, which is not supposed to be possible
Right.
because it's an insulator, right?
Mm.
It's the electrons are not supposed to pass through it, right? But if you put enough of a difference in charge across the insulator, there becomes a higher probability that some of the electrons might appear on the other side of the insulator,
Right. Basically
right?
going through the material rather than.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so if you've ever seen like a representation of like an electron cloud where it's not just an electron just sitting in one point, it's like
Yeah.
in a sphere,
A
right?
cloud of probability.
It's a cloud of probability, right?
Yeah.
They might be in this area. Well, if you make a large enough difference in voltage across the insulator, the cloud actually expands to the point where now it's on the other side of the insulator.
Ooh.
So for some little slice of the time, the electron is actually on the other side.
Huh.
And if you give it enough time, some of those electrons will migrate across. They'll hop across the
Right.
insulator, even though it shouldn't be possible in the classical sense.
And is
right?
there like a level that you have to, is there a definable level you get to when you start seeing these things happen?
I mean, it's all based on how wide is the insulator, what are the properties of it, how big is the voltage difference, right? And again, these things all have to, be looked at and in a more zoomed out fashion when it comes to the guys just designing the how do you, I want to write I want to write some ones to this part of the flash memory, right? I want to change these zeros to ones. Okay, how do I do that? Well, I need to just I just need to change the state. Well, how does that actually happen? Well, actually, electrons are moving through the insulator, but at some point, the guys have to stop worrying about that, right? They're just worried about, oh, if I put this much voltage on it and I wait this much time, then I know this many of the electrons will move over, and then the voltage will change to this
Oh,
other
I
number.
see. Okay, so
right?
Okay, so they just get enough of whatever. They don't have to. They're not worried about specifics of levels. Just that they get enough within a certain period of time.
Right.
To get their on or off signal, basically.
Yeah, but that process is quantum tunneling. It's just I just explained it as it applies to how you write information to an SSD in a computer, right? But of course, the same principle works in plenty of other places in different ways, right? But there was. I'll try to dig up the video for that, and I'll put the link in the chat as well.
Oh,
But
please,
There was a
Is it
YouTube
branch
channel
education? Is it the engineering puzzle of storing trillions of bits?
Yep, I think it is branch education.
All right, I think that's the one that comes up when I put in all of your keywords. Yeah,
If
sheets
it's the
of paper, smartphone memory cells.
Yeah, dude, these guys have been making videos that show super technical things so clearly.
They're like the Kurzgesagt of. Yeah.
They're just really dang good at doing a visualization of like they have like one how does computer memory work? How does like there's all sorts of compute like related topics.
I watch that stuff all
on
the
their
time.
channel.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know about specifically these guys, but I've watched like I don't understand why people get anything. People get anything done in the day. I'd just be looking up stuff all the time if I was able to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You actually nailed it on the video. I'm pretty sure it's that engineering puzzle of storing trillions of bits on your smartphone.
I put the link in the chat.
Yeah, because it actually shows. At one point in the video, it actually shows the like the quantum cloud of the electron and how it jumps the gap.
That's neat. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that idea of it becoming like larger and jumping. That's neat.
Yeah.
There's
because the cloud is the electron has a charge to it, right? So if you put a big difference in voltage across some area, that cloud is going to want to shift over to the positive, right? Because it's a negative, right? It's attracted to a positive. So it's just, at the fundamental level, that's what's going on, right? But but again, it's not a matter of it's going to happen at exactly this point in time, right? It's just that it's more likely to happen, right?
The book that I was reading with James and Dr. N, PhD, was this book called Life on the Edge. And the whole concept of it is like scientists had always assumed that biology was too warm, squishy, and large to use quantum mechanics.
It's not real science.
Exactly.
Biology's for babies.
Exactly. There you go. There's that. But the idea is that they're saying, look, there are specific things that they point out that look to be quantum based. Things like this Robin who has a sense of direction with the magnetic poles, even though there's no the size of the force is so small that it's impossible for them to tell any other way other than with quantum mechanics. I mean, again, it's laid out better in the book than I've just explained it. But there's things like photosynthesis where basically they're saying that these computers have to basically be plant quantum computers to have the efficiency of the photosynthesis that they do. It's just there's just a bunch of things in there that I just found fascinating. They were saying like maybe, I mean, you talk about sci-fi, maybe life itself is about that fuzziness. Like maybe the difference between an alive person and a dead person is this quantum activity, which I thought was kind of neat. I got to say though, I'm like haunted by Lance's idea about the idea that the quantum world is an anomaly because we're not focused on it because it's a simulation. Of course, I don't want to live in a simulation because I think people behave badly enough already that the last thing I want is them going like, what does it matter? Let's just kill everybody. You know?
More pointers, please.
Exactly. Let's destroy the environment.
Can I tell you when I came up, like when I started thinking that direction?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the show Centennial? It was back when the big three, like ABC, NBC, CBS, would do mini-series of history or something.
Right.
And Centennial was the 100th anniversary of America. And, all the guys out west. Anyways, they filmed it in this town out here. And Dad and Mom took me there. And it looked like an old west town. And then when you went around behind, it was all the regular stuff.
Yeah.
Like even big boulders. It's like, how'd they get that boulder there? And then the boulders all hollow and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if I'm only seeing the side of the world that I can see, that my eyes let me see?
And I would argue that that's the case anyways. I mean, that is the case, isn't it? I mean, the reality is that we call our vision, but the reality is we're only seeing a tiny portion of the electromagnetic, spectrum. Our memories are fallible because we don't actually remember anything. We just recreate it in our brain. So it's just it's a really interesting puzzle. I mean, I think it's also rife for misuse, if that makes sense. Like I could see the Joe Rogans of the world smoking their Mary Jane and coming up with all sorts of ideas on this stuff because it does sound a bit spacey.
I hated that. Deepak Chopra, is that his name?
Oh, who's that?
Deepak.
It sounds familiar.
One of those.
Were you talking about the Centennial from like the 70s?
78, 79. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was like 6 when
Richard
I went to that.
Chamberlain was in it. Richard Chamberlain, remember him? Yeah.
Yeah, that's taking it back.
Andy Griffith, Lynn Redgrave, Donald Pleasance.
Robert Conrad? Is that right?
Was Robert Conrad in there? I don't see Robert. Oh, yeah, Robert Conrad. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We actually, well, anyways, yeah.
Did
she
you
liked to go out to the bar a lot.
Oh, really?
So I hired one of my uncles to, at that time, there was a commercial out, hey, can you knock this battery off my shoulder? I don't know if you remember that commercial.
No.
It was a Duracell battery. They were super tough. And Robert Conrad's super tough. So he was daring people to knock off his shoulder. Well, now he goes to bars and people are like, I'm knocking off your shoulder. So then he hired some bodyguards to go whenever he wanted to go out. There you go.
Really? To protect him from his fans?
Yeah.
Wow. Gee, you know what? For a history of America in 1978, it's amazing how white it is. It is almost entirely white cast.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, there is one black actor listed, and it's Glynn Turman.
I don't remember her.
Him.
Or him.
Yeah.
There you go. So
he was Nate Person. But isn't that wild? Like, just look at it. Also, all these, I guess, must have been incredibly young actors, because there was Timothy Dalton was in it, Mark Harmon was in it, Dennis Weaver, Robert Vaughn.
Oh,
wow. With everybody, dude.
See, it must have been one of those series where like every episode had a couple of like early guest stars early in their careers.
Oh,
right?
Maybe. Hey, Stephen McCaddy, he's got a Canadian in there. That's so funny. He's been around for years, man. Jesus.
What's super dumb is, this took place it was, my part of Colorado is where they were showing.
Stephanie
And then, up in the
Zimbalist.
mountains a little bit. Stephanie Zimbalist.
Stephanie
Jr.?
Zimbalist.
Or
Oh
no,
my
wait,
God, I loved her. She was remember she was, what's it called?
Remington Steele.
Remington Steele. Yeah.
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 So okay. So, but there is a town here in Colorado, not far away from Fort Morgan.
Should I make the sound of the hawk?
Masters.
Ah! Yeah, that's right.
Caw.
Yeah. Caw! Yeah.
It was called Masters because the slaves that had been freed during the Civil War
Mm.
came and made their own town and called it. Now they're the Masters. So they started
Oh.
Masters, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And didn't that sounds historically significant to me, but
Yeah.
didn't make the centennial cut.
Didn't make the centennial cut. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. It feels like, there's a little bit of rewriting of history that needs to be done. I think maybe just
That's what I don't
maybe
get.
just
Why are
filling
these
in some
people
of the.
so mad?
I think because people
yeah.
think history doesn't change. I think we were born. Well, I don't know, but certainly our generation, I feel, was taught that history was something that has happened, and happened the way we've been told, right? I mean, that it didn't change, and I think people get very upset when they think they've been, that they don't, that they've been taught not the wrong stuff. We weren't taught the wrong stuff. We were just taught it with a very specific, through a very specific lens, right? I mean,
Why are they mad about Black Little Mermaid? 'Cause you know how many real mermaids I've seen?
who's mad?
Yeah.
Who's mad about that? What the is?
The-
Sorry,
Who's mad? Oh, that's right. You don't go on social media now.
I've been staying off. Yeah, I've been staying off it, and it's been amazing. It's been freaking amazing. I miss people. Like, I really do miss. I miss the interactions with people.
Me too. I just ignore that kind of stuff.
But
I have
but-
a hard time with
can't.
our friends that are doing that.
What friends?
You want me to say?
What? Who's got friends with what? About what?
Salty. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah, Salty's definitely the anti-woke for sure.
I mean, yeah. So they're complaining about, Black Little Mermaid, or it's like, what? As far as I know, the mermaid fantasy or mythology was based off of dugongs and manatees.
It's funny because I don't I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that we again things were conceived in obviously a very white culture, and so our vision of it is obviously white, and being white, I think, is something that we've only recently discovered we're white, like that white is a race. You know what I mean? Like that we're like, it's always been like our way and everyone else's.
Other.
Yeah. So it's like
and
you would say a Chinese person or a black man, and the reality is what you mean is not a white person, right? And I feel like we've got to. That's something where I struggle. Not even I, like, me, perfect. But I mean that even someone like myself, who's very much, I think I am trying to be very woke on this stuff. I still struggle with a lot of this stuff, with trying to, like, I should really be saying my white friend Melvin Tana, or my white friend, I don't know how one, how one changes that, but so the issue is that they think that the Little Mermaid needs to be white because she was white in the cartoon?
In the 1986 Disney cartoon?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems a bit silly. The thing I think, if I was to defend their stance at all, which I don't want to, but not specifically
like
Salty, not the Salties, but I can't speak for them because I don't know.
No, whoever.
But just in general,
that, yeah.
the sense I get, and this is not, I shouldn't say defend, but to try to understand where it comes from.
Right.
I feel like it is their, potentially could be the hypocrisy of the companies that are making these things, right? That
would be a deeper thing. I mean,
like,
they are literally just mad that it's that.
Who owns the Disney franchise, the Disney IPs? Who's making money off that? Are they all white guys? I don't know. I mean, it sounds like corporate America is still pretty white and pretty male. So maybe that's I think there's definitely a sense of, I think there's definitely a sense of frustration from people, which could come out the wrong way, I think. where this at the hypocrisy, at the signaling, this trying to like these companies just trying to pretend like they give a shit when they really don't, I think is maybe part of it as well. I
could do that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be attached to an anti-capitalism. You know what I mean? They're all for capitalism, and Elon Musk is a genius because he's a billionaire. You know, don't take evidence to like that he might be a dumbass. Just you know, like just he's a billionaire, so then therefore he is smart.
Well, there's also this duality of there's people like people we live in the gray area. We live in the fuzzy, right? I mean, people these smart people could do stupid things. Stupid people could do smart things. I mean, I feel like
that's true.
We try so hard to pigeonhole everybody. And I think part of the reason, again, if I want to rail against the system for a second, you know, the algorithms that have been created to keep us engaged on the internet and on social media and on YouTube and all these things, is all about trying to divide people into little chunks, because that's what helps them, you know?
I agree with you. I just wish, I don't know about you, you know, I think you and I are the same in this way. We'd rather know the truth of the thing.
Yeah.
And be unhappy than rather believe in a truth that does make us happy.
Yeah. And
falsehood that does make us happy.
Oh, yeah. But to people that think that way, it's hard for, and I mean, so you can include me with that one as well, right? But to people that think that way, it boggles our mind to see how someone could see it differently.
And that's the problem, is I think it's very difficult, and that's what I struggle with, because my instant sort of like gut response is to go, what a bunch of freaking morons. Like, I mean, and I feel like, you know, like I've spoken out about certain things that I mean, Trump was a big issue for me. Like, I just didn't, and forget the politics of any of that. I just felt as a human being, he was revolting. Like, I just felt that he didn't stand for anything to me that I wanted to be associated with. And I didn't feel that the Republican Party, which I had been a part of in the past.
Right.
I always consider myself I always consider myself a bleeding heart conservative. That literally is what I felt. I felt that government screws stuff up. They should stay out of things. And so I thought that I felt we should have small government. And that we should look after people, but that we, you know, that it was, you know, we needed to.
Okay, more of a libertarian thing.
Actually, but you know what? Like,
and politics is different up in Canada too, to be fair. So. Yeah.
And actually, so then David, you're a pretty good example of this. Like, my opinion is that like Trump sort of took those bleeding heart conservative types and did them a disservice, right? Because then it's no longer about like, well, you know, I can see some of the other side or not, and just basically I just put up this firewall.
Well, and I think that's it. Like, and I fell for that too. Like, I definitely, I mean, I had basically, and I think I will stick to this actually. I had basically written off the Republican Party because I felt that any party that was willing to support that kind of hatred and that kind of deceit and trickery and just like I didn't think anyone could in good faith call themselves a Republican with that thing at the head of the
right.
Of
like
the
it should be beneath them to like continue doing that, right?
You know, and but again, I also feel like that's social media, like media in general. Right. I mean, what's interesting right now is like, here's a perfect example. We've got a writer's strike right now. The writers strike, that union is striking against the massive corporations that own all of the media that is reporting on the writer's strike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I think personally it's futile. I think it feels a bit Luddite to me. It feels like
with the boards, are you?
Well, I am a bit to some extent. Because I just feel like the technology, you can't tell a studio not to use AI, which I know they're not exactly saying, but I feel like, you know, of course there's shady dealings on both sides. It's freaking politics basically. So, and there's money, which of course destroys everything. But it's an interesting thing to suddenly realize that where we're at in the world right now is that we've got there is a stranglehold on media, and I think this again will go back to the I don't like black Little Mermaid people, in that I think they feel like they're being spoon-fed stuff, and that it's not legitimately changing anything. It's just making things worse. And I think
I agree.
I think there
But
needs to
it's
be discourse
appealing-
on this stuff.
It's appealing to. Okay, how do I say this?
To people
It's
like
not
me. It
generating-
makes me feel like see what a great world we
Well-
live in. There's a little black mermaid. You know what I mean? And I don't think that really
Uh,
solves anything. We're still shooting people in the freaking
I'm
streets.
talking about the AI.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
The
yeah.
AI couldn't make us animals
Mm,
that respond to these things on a visceral level.
mm,
We do that already, and it's deciphered that, and now it knows how.
mm.
But it's still people. Did you? Okay, there just was an article today came out, and trans athletes. You know, there's like 4 of them in America.
Well, thank
They're
you, Jack
high school
Jasser.
kids.
Sorry, a little
Thanks,
raid,
Jack.
little shout out to Jack Jasser for his raid. And hello, Jack.
Do you know what? He's a ray of sunshine. Is what he is.
That guy's
I like it.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yep, everything pops out of his brain.
Yeah.
He even makes German sound like cuddly.
Yeah.
Super Luke, and it's still good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. Sorry, I just made a racist joke or something.
Did you?
Anyways, I think
What?
so. was
I
gonna
missed
say
it.
that, you know, like Germans sound like real. And
Well,
then that Jack,
the German language, the Germanic language sounds angry.
it does.
It just does. I
Yeah,
mean, to my
Jack
ears,
makes it
obviously
sound
not to
nice.
Germans, but to me, it just sounds. Maybe it's just all the war movies I watch, but that's yeah.
See,
Still,
that's
the best
reverse
movie,
control.
best movie that came out in the last like 5 years, honestly, is All Quiet on the Western Front. That latest German version of it is freaking brilliant. Have you seen that, Malventana?
I think so.
Ooh, then you haven't seen it. Wow.
Dang it.
Wait,
It was
what was
so
that German movie?
good.
Right, was it that good?
All Quiet on
There
the
was
Western Front.
a better German movie, possibly the best
Das
of
Boot.
all time. You know, about World War II.
Mhm.
It had Val Kilmer,
Really?
and it was it
Not
was like a
not the funny one.
Right. what?
Not the funny
What do you
one.
mean,
You're not. You're
What-
about
what-
to say.
what funny one? What's it called? What?
Oh,
What?
I've seen All Quiet on the Western. Yeah, it's got the Hogan's Heroes guys in it.
No.
What?
The original. No, the new one. There's a new one.
1979. Oh, there's a new one.
No, like 1979 is not new anymore, Malventano.
Well, sorry.
That
sorry,
makes
I
us
made a
old. No, there's like one literally in the last like 5 years, and it's on Netflix, and it's freaking the most.
Well, see,
Oh,
you
gut-wrenching-
confuse me because there's also a 1930 version
Yes,
of that same
yeah,
movie. So
yeah,
like,
Yeah,
you know,
see,
yeah.
see, David.
Yeah,
so when
whatever.
you said new, I was
Alan
like, oh, you
was
mean the
on a different level than
1979?
you.
I know I meant the 1931. What was I saying? Where were we at? Yeah, you got to check out that
Okay,
movie.
no,
Sorry,
so
that's
What?
All Quiet on
What?
the Western Front. Got it. Okay,
What?
added to the
What's
list.
the name of that movie with Val Kilmer? And he's a secret spy during.
I
Germany.
know. I'm
It's
trying to
like
think of it. Top Secret.
Top secret.
Top Secret.
That was
I can. You got to work
best
on your
part.
delivery, man. I could tell where you were going, but I couldn't help you because I
Yeah.
didn't remember the name of the movie.
I
Yeah,
wasn't-
it's kind of genius. The other one that I was surprised at was Life is Beautiful. Remember that? They did a comedy about Auschwitz. Basically, it was like a comedy set in a
Yeah.
concentration camp, and it was just devastating, just absolutely. Roberto Benigni.
Oh yeah,
He
he
was-
was so happy.
Oh, it's just brilliant, and just absolutely crushing. The worst thing I ever I was gonna say the worst thing I ever saw. That's depressed the shit out of everybody. Excuse me. Sorry, Vipa.
Hey,
But I actually one of the things on Twitter that I called out a while back was this amazing artist who was colorizing photos, and she colorized photos from the camps. So they were all these black and white
Ooh.
photos of the people that they murdered, and she colorized a photo of a kid, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was like all of a sudden it went
heartbreaking.
from history to a little girl, and I couldn't sort of thank this woman enough for what she'd done. She ended up getting hired by one of these centers, like they might have even been Auschwitz, I'm not sure, where she was hired to do the same thing to every single one of them because it
My
humanizes
grandpa
them.
Liberated.
Oh
a
wow!
concentration camp.
Oh,
And-
which
But I mean, he's got pictures. Well, he's passed now. He would be
where
100.
where was
God darn it! I'm gonna have to find out from my
yeah,
uncles.
do because that's
I was like 16. He really stopped talking about it the older he got.
yeah. My grandfather was the same. He wouldn't talk about it.
When I was 16, he would tell me everything and show me the
Huh.
pictures and stuff. And he could carry 2 grown men. that were passed away because they were so, just skin and bones.
Oh God, yeah.
And then they would throw their all their food supplies and rations away from themselves so that they didn't get overrun, by the people, just get rations and rations as much as they could out there.
Just horrific.
And they had, it was just awful. So,
yeah.
they got to live it, and then we have to get it colorized for it to really make an impact.
But I think I thought that was interesting because I've never been for it. I never really liked colorization before. I always thought it was a bit hokey. Well, I was like, why does it need to be, black and white movie is a black and white movie. It was supposed to be black and white. But this particularly was just startling because it was just like, wow,
But that's not an artistic decision to get that in black and white. It was just what they had available.
Well, exactly.
Right?
No, exactly. No, I know. I'm not. Even I think we should shoot all of these in black and white. It'll look better in history. Yeah, I think it was. But I think to me it was a perfect example of art, like art elevated beyond just art. Like that art, in a way, I guess all art is that. But the idea that this woman's work was so, and she would do things like she would look up the lipstick hues of the time. And she would look up hair colors.
Oh, smart.
And she would look up the fabrics that were available. And she would look up skin tones given that level of malnutrition and all. So that it was highly accurate what she was doing. But it brought this poor little girl to life in a way that was just shocking. And I think there is a tendency, I think. I mean, we struggle with the concept of that. Like we struggle with the concept of that many people. We hear on the news every day about people dying in floods or fires or God in famines and things. Like, I mean, people starving to death. That's freaking insane. If we took the money we spent on diets, we could feed the world. You know what I mean? Like that's disgusting. That's freaking disgusting. But again, I think again the pandemic has completely changed me on this stuff. I swear to God, I don't. Maybe it's something to do with having a kid as well or whatever. I don't know. But it just feels like I feel like we should look after each other better.
I want to do a whole science thing on having children. I want to have an episode you and I fighting about children.
Why not to have children? I was never going to have kids. I was never going to have one.
No. Like, okay. If you watch Last of Us and then those ants that you showed us, that the fungus takes over the brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if there's ant discussions going on, the ant with the fungus in his brain's going, dude, you're never going to understand the world until you got the fungus.
Well, dude, we've got...
And it sounds like parents to me.
They're saying that depression could be caused by gut bacteria. Like, what if we're literally just carrying around a bunch of bacteria and we're just the robot?
Oh my God.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, Malvitano's been piloting a damn sub, a nuclear sub, and it could be bacteria at the helm.
Actually driving the sub.
Well, not driving.
Well, no, I was just pushing.
He could nuke it if he wants, though.
Hey.
I was just pushing the sub.
Yeah.
True. He's a good swimmer.
I don't know whether this is accurate or not. But the story I tell everyone, Alan, is that you got stuck in the back of the sub at the beginning, and so you read the manual, and that's why you became the nuke guy.
Oh no, there was like 2 years of training before they even let me go back there, buddy.
Oh really? Oh okay, all right.
There's a.
My story's way better than the truth. Just so
listen,
you know.
no. What's funny is your story is almost perfect for something I did that was the opposite.
Oh
so,
really?
On the submarine, you have your regular job, but then you have like, and if you've seen any halfway decent submarine movies, there's like battle stations. So like, everybody has to go to their battle station, right? Mm. And your battle station is not necessarily the same as your day job, right? It's like, okay, battle stations mean everybody is awake. That means you have like 3 times more people, sitting at places doing a job, right? So obviously you can't have you don't have 3 guys all sitting at the reactor control panel to do the same job, right? So you've got some people doing other things, like other places where you wouldn't normally need somebody sitting there or standing there, right? And so my job for battle stations was what's called the phone talker, just a person that's literally just on the phone, right, and relay stuff so that the other people don't have to be on everybody doesn't have to have the headset on.
Right.
I was the phone talker, but in the torpedo room.
Right.
So the complete opposite end of the submarine from where I normally worked, right?
Oh.
And
Okay.
I knew absolutely nothing about how the torpedo crap worked, right?
Oh.
And the only reason that they put me there initially was they needed somebody that was good at communications, and usually the people that run the reactor, that person has to also be really good with having a headset and doing communication and listening to 5 things at the same time, right?
Right.
So since it's an important, place for communication, they'll usually get one of the nuclear trained people to come up to do like torpedo room or missiles or some other thing and be the communication person, right?
Right.
So
because those science folks are going to be concise.
Right. And well, it's the communication has to be super concise because if you're dealing with a reactor, you can't like miscommunicate on something.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a rosy red to I don't know.
Because if you do the wrong thing, you accidentally shut the reactor down.
It's
up.
Not you
great,
said up.
Right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry. Sorry.
Apologies.
Apologies. We're dead in the water now because I accidentally said the wrong thing.
We're gonna go really fast for a little bit. Yeah.
It was the gut bacteria.
So yes, it was all the gut
that's
bacteria.
It. It's the gut bacteria. Stupid.
I blame it on the gut bacteria.
The saboteurs.
So what ended up happening was when you're doing this battle stations thing, sometimes you're just doing it most of the time you're just doing it as a drill, right? You're just pretending. Yeah. And so usually you're bored to tears. So what did I end up doing? I found the Mark 48 torpedo technical manual sitting right there on the table, and I read the thing cover to cover like multiple times. Right?
That's the sort of thing I would do. I just love it. Yeah.
It was the coolest thing. Like how this thing, you would assume it was some dumb blunt object. No, it's an extremely complicated thing with like a 3-inch thick technical manual about it, right? Just so interesting that you would think, oh, that's just some other guy's job, but then you realize, oh wow, there's an awful lot of depth, to this thing, right? But yeah, dude, for the nuclear thing, like that was like 2 years straight worth of schooling.
Oh, that's so funny.
To even be able to sit in the chair for the first time.
Right.
Right.
Well, I guess they've got to do lots of clearance checks on you as well, right? I assume.
Yeah, you have to get at least a secret clearance just to work on the submarine.
Wow.
To do anything on the submarine.
You had to have a secret clearance like that, or a membership to Mar-a-Lago. Either way is good for that.
Yeah. Well, that's actually higher clearance level. That gets you top secret.
True.
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of the issue? Was it the people would just show up at Mar-a-Lago and they'd be having like meetings?
Well,
I don't know,
presidential meetings or something.
Yeah.
Listen, for the second half of my Navy career, I was not on submarines anymore. I was working for like things that included the NSA, so I had to have a top secret clearance to do the second half of my career, right?
Right.
Listen, that just boggles my mind, man. Like I had to look at those documents. Whenever I did, I was literally standing 2 feet away from the safe that it was supposed to go in.
Yeah.
Like I had to do a combination to the door to even get in the room.
What are they called? They're called something. Those rooms. They're
skiffs.
What are they called?
It's a skiff.
Skiff. That's it. Skiff. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is all super like everything is behind multiple layers of security.
That's what I mean. Like how the hell? Why does I'm surprised there isn't more of an uproar about this. Like this. There's not just Trump. All of them. All these old guys are bringing like the paper home. And then there's the guard who was taking photos with his phone.
That's what's so crazy about all that is that like sometimes out of necessity they'll sort of extend, like there are admirals in the military that will have like a skiff.
He's a slow reader.
Like no. They're like they'll have a small part of their house. The engineers will come out. They'll secure a part of their house with a certain lock on the door and certain like wire mesh in the walls and other crap like that to make sure that and they'll actually extend the skiff into some part. If it's a high enough person, then they'll be able to duck into that room if they need to be briefed on something immediately and there's not enough time to like come into the office.
Oh, that's it. I'm building a skiff.
Well, just so you know, they've got audio of Trump discussing our plans to invade Iran if it ever occurred, and what places we would hit first and when.
What?
And they have audio of him talking about this. just to make small talk at
at
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that
So-
what? Oh, is that what? See, this is
So
what
here's
happens when I'm off social media. I don't hear any of
Right,
this stuff.
Right. So
Yeah.
here's this is very recent, David. But like, so here's what the
Like the
kicker is
last
for that.
2 days.
Yeah.
ahead.
So say you had that admiral and they made that exception and approvals and whatever to have that skiff. That's only while he's the admiral. As soon as he's not doing that job anymore, all that stuff is gone. Right? Like
So-
it all goes away. It's
so
not like
how
he
does
just
this
leaves
stuff
the
happen
around
then?
his house?
Like, how does Biden have it in his garage? How does wasn't there another guy? There was someone else. There's a couple.
Pence?
Pence.
Pence had
That's
some.
right. Pence had some as
Biden
well.
had some. Yeah.
I mean,
listen,
like-
and I'm not excusing any of that either.
No, neither.
but-
No, I'm
know-
not picking on just Trump. I mean, Trump seemed to have quite a big cache of this
Right.
stuff.
But
But
he
here's
was moving it around and showing it. But yeah,
there's a very interesting difference between Pence/Biden and what Trump did, right? Pence and Biden, they actively initiated searches because of what was going on with Trump,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, if it can happen there, let's do a triple check and make absolutely sure
But
that there's
how do
nothing,
you not
right?
know? You've got top secret. I don't understand how you don't know that.
Eh, they're
I don't know
busy,
either
David.
because
Hello.
I never worked high enough to even be in that sort of case where that kind of stuff could, I can see if it was a vice president, potentially an aide might go to his house with like the secure suitcase or whatever, and so, sir, here's this for your review, and then it has to be remain within that guy's like possession, and then like okay, you've read it now, good, and you've closed the folder, stick it back in the briefcase, and like immediately go back to the base, right? Like that's what I would expect to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the
Chain
heck
of custody, is that what that's called?
well, that's more of a legal thing, but like, yes, like
Okay.
if it's a top secret thing, like it's not supposed to be just like let out of this, it's supposed to be tracked.
Right.
Like
Well, that's it.
if
That's that's the whole thing about it being tracked. Like that's the.
Yeah.
I would have thought you'd like. Look, they sign freaking library books in and out. Like you can't
No,
sign a
it's the same-
class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the same sort of thing too, right? Like on the safe, there would be like a log. If you needed to check a document out and it was a top secret thing, you would sign it out. And okay, now I have possession of it, right? And it would be tracked. And presumably any of these documents that are found, if you trace it back far enough, you're probably going to find it was signed out by somebody. It came out of a safe at some
Well,
point.
and they found like the guy who took the photos. They found it, right? They were saying that they should have.
Right.
They were talking about like they're saying like, well, this is a perfect example of AI. Why can't AI just look up every single image, and if it says top secret classified at the top of it, it gets a second look? Which I thought was, I was like, that's actually not a bad idea, really. I mean, like,
No, it's not. Yeah,
just to
you can
mitigate-
machine learn that.
mitigate. I mean, that's there you go. It's a Project Game Face. We could use your media mouse, media pipe, folks.
Project Find the Confidential Cover Sheet. Face.
Yeah, Project Mar-Lago.
Okay, completely related.
Yeah.
Somebody in our chat actually has converted Project Game Face to work on Apple. I mean, it's not polished yet. But
Oh,
it's
yeah,
working
I was-
on
It was
Apple.
on.
It's
I saw that on the Discord, but apparently there's some libraries that don't work right or something. There's some issues there.
Mark Lapointe's the one doing it, and
Yeah.
he actually, as long as he puts everything from oh gosh, what's the name of the programming language?
Well, Python.
Pascal. Python.
Yeah.
As long
Python,
as he
probably.
puts all the kits on there, or all the, I can't remember. It's something about. Do you know how in the old days?
Here you go.
when had
Mark's
a
in there. He says,
platform-
"I got it partially worked out on Linux." Oh, great. Yeah, Linux. I thought made sense.
Also on Linux, yeah.
If we can get it working on Linux, we can put it on a Raspberry Pi, and then we could turn it into. Then we're talking about a hardware
A
system.
physical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Alan, what we were talking about doing was like if we get it running on Linux, and then we have a Raspberry Pi that then we could plug in as USB into a USB port, so it really is a mouse, right?
Yeah.
Because my issue with a lot of it is how it gets thrown off by various different parts of the operating system on the Windows system.
Yeah,
we're
you
using.
want it to be a relatively dumb like HID input device.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
just powered by GameFace. Yeah.
with
Yeah,
a camera on it.
Yeah, and there's already libraries for Pis for them to act as input devices over
Yeah.
USB.
Yeah, that's what
Like,
I mean.
that's
That's
already
what
a thing.
I mean. It feels like it's totally doable.
Yeah,
I got.
it
Oh
just
my
connects
god.
them dots, and I'm not sure a Pi would be powerful enough, but it could be.
Well, but all the processes is happening on the web. That's all. That's the Media Mouse stuff. Is as long as you've got an internet connection, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what-
on
Really?
GitHub.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a noticeable like turnaround round trip latency though? Like
I'm not getting it. Even when playing games, I'm not feeling any latency.
I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's working, but it's
probably
Have you
running-
tried?
They're probably running some very small piece of, something on the end, on the hardware on,
they've got to be.
you know,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Gimpy's end, right?
Yeah,
Because
they've
otherwise
gotta
you'd
be.
have,
Right.
otherwise it would be like playing any game that's remote streamed from like some live server, some server somewhere else. Like those are always a huge
It's that
pain.
lag, that lag of
Yeah,
like
you get input
Yeah.
lag, and it's like
the
a
mouse
quarter
takes
second
10 minutes.
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my
Yeah.
Twitch stream. There's like a 10-minute gap.
Right.
But it's funny. I sort of suddenly went, wait a second, because all of my issues with Game Phase have been about complications with either like a window that won't like one of the big issues that I don't think they ever solved this, did they, Lance? Where if you somehow by accident clicked on something that gave you the Alt close whatever menu, that it gets stuck,
Where it would freeze?
it hangs up on that. Because
I don't know if I'm avoiding doing that because it did it so much, or if it's not doing it.
it's done it for me.
I feel like
I don't know if it's done on the
avoiding
recent
it.
one or not though. But yeah, you're just getting around it better. I gotta say though, I love it. Like I have it on my laptop, and I'll use it sometimes just like when my arms are hurting from too much time on the computer. I'll use it as the mouse, and I keep my hands on the keyboard and just click that way, which is
I want
pretty.
super duper smart people that are your friends to go in there and play with it. I've been on GitHub a lot, and I've actually helped troubleshoot. I feel so good. There were 2 people with disabilities that couldn't get it to work, and I figured out that other accessibility components they had were actually trying to take
Interfering.
over
Yeah.
mouse
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
they
the
had
issue
it-
that we had with
yeah.
Apple all the time, right? It's like
Yeah.
you'd enable one thing and it would screw up the other thing. It's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
what was I? Okay, let's see. Is there anything else on my email that I should mention? We got the crystal. We talked about. We didn't even touch on slime molds, but we could talk. I think we could probably talk about slime molds. We should talk slime molds with James Gurney at some point. In fact, I'm thinking about. He'd suggested that I talk to Dr. N PhD about it, because apparently he's done a bunch of stuff as well. So I'll have a look at that. We'll get back on that. But the slime mold stuff was something that Baz brought up. Baz came back and said, like, oh my God, the Tokyo subway system is being designed by slimes. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm skeptical, but it's, and you know, it wasn't actually designed by it, but it was recreated in slime, which I just thought was fantastic. And also the idea that, like, I'd sort of heard about this sort of bunch of weirdos, this breakfast club of a kingdom that is neither plant nor animal nor fungi, called the protists. And I was like, oh man, like that's like, it's like the, you know, it's, what do they call it? It's like the Expendables. It's like there's this whole bunch of, there's this whole kingdom in the natural world that has all these misfits, and then slime molds in there, and it's like a single cell organism that can eventually configure itself into the shortest possible path to food. It's really cool. Really cool.
Well, I like how you did. That was a great transition. Like, speaking of slime molds, where is Professor Dr. James Gurney?
I got to be careful. I was just very nice to James. I just had this sudden, like, one of those like warm fuzzy feelings where I was like, this guy's always helping me out. This guy is whenever there's a question, whenever there's always, he's always there. He's like Cal.
What have you done for James lately, David?
Exactly nothing. I still haven't even sent him a freaking coin.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, you sent me a coin.
Still?
Yeah. Did I send you a coin?
I have a coin.
When did I mail you?
looking at it right now.
I know,
It's on my
because I sent it with the photos.
You sent me a photo.
The photos, that's right. Okay, yeah. For some reason, photos seem mailable to me, but a coin doesn't for some reason.
Yeah, I only got the coin because you threw it in the envelope with the photo.
That's what it was. That's exactly what I did. That's right. Of course.
Well, wait a minute. Don't you have any more of those pictures left? You should send James one.
James doesn't want a picture of me. He has to look at me all the time. Oh, he's in there. He's in the chat. Oh, there you go. Now I'm in trouble.
Oh,
What? There you
That's
go.
it.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks so much, Alan, for coming by. It's like Jane. I think Jane had a couple of drinks in Cannes and told the director that I just worked with that I was pissed off that he didn't say thank you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which I wasn't pissed off, but I was a bit like, you'd think you'd get an email or something saying thanks for you know, whatever. Anyway, so
Doing the thing.
I get this email from Jake saying that says like saying like, great. You're the only person who called me on the fact that I didn't email them and say hello, say thank you. And then he said a very lovely email. Like, he's such a good writer. So he wrote a very lovely email. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I was like, I mean, I don't know for sure that that's what happened, but the sense I get is that perhaps they were hanging out in Cannes. Perhaps there were a couple of drinks involved. And next thing you know, my wife is like, yeah, and another thing. So a picture of David. I'd return it to sender. Thanks, Cal. That's sweet. Sweet. Sweet of you, Cal. Yeah.
Listen, when you send Cal the picture, you need to include a picture of like a birthday cake and a hat and stuff.
Well, that'll be for her birthday, which could be any day of the year.
Exactly.
That's
you
what's
can send it right now.
Exactly. Yeah. I could. Oh God! Now I really have to get my shit together on the coin.
James just a hashtag. Where's my coin?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a new hashtag now. Where's James Gurney's coin?
Where's James Gurney's coin?
Yeah. I feel like I should give him a bigger coin now or something. I don't know. I gotta figure something out. You know.
Oh man.
I'll figure something out.
Don't you have a laser etcher or something you could put to
the
one I cannot live without?
I could not. Like, here's the other problem, though, of course, is that I can't woodwork. There's no point in doing any woodwork stuff around James, because James does all the cool stuff himself, right? He does all sorts of neat stuff. But maybe I could etch something on his coin. That's true. An NFT number.
I have a theory.
Yep.
I have a theory that James is a werebeaver. And so, like, at night, he turns into a werebeaver, and then he gnaws on his stuff. And then when he comes to consciousness during the day, he's like, oh, crap.
I made another bowl.
Do something with all this wood.
I chewed another bowl. Yeah. Yeah, werebeaver. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah, exactly. I've got 2 movie reviews for you.
Of you?
No, not with me in it. But
Okay.
So
I'm gonna find out if you're dead inside today, by the way.
I'm dead inside.
Okay, well.
The first one was a horror movie that I started watching the other night called The Seed. And it was...
Was that the house with the AI taking over?
No.
Is this old?
No, it's a brand new one, and it is the worst piece of crap. It was like a 1980s male fantasy about like women getting raped by aliens, and it was the most ridiculously awful movie. So of course I watched the whole thing.
Of course, naturally.
Obviously.
But on the plus side, so I watched it, so you don't have to. The Seed, don't watch it. It's not like it. I just hated everything about it.
Well, now I'm going to watch it just to make sure you have taste.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a horror movie. Like, everyone has different tastes on horror movies. Some people find things better.
Was there a lot of nudity and gross stuff like that?
There was like, it wasn't even nudity. It was just sort of.
Wait, not nudity?
There was. Well, it's like, I kept thinking, like, if you're going to make a movie that's supposed to be sort of like some kind of weird sexual epiphany or something, I felt like it should probably be more gratuitous. But instead, it had this weird kind of TNA kind of feeling, like from it really felt like a 1980s movie. It's like, ooh, I think I saw some boobie. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, it was just, you know, and also it had a very sort of, it felt very male, shall we say. Now, who knows? Maybe it was directed by a female. I don't know, but it felt very dated to me. Anyways, so
that movie is so bad that I didn't even have it automatically pulled down onto my server.
Oh, really? Wow.
Look at that.
There you go.
And he's got like a pentabyte of like movies, dude.
But I've got a good one. Or
petabyte.
Yeah.
So the good one is called Bloody Hell.
Okay.
And it is a Finnish American co-pro or a Finnish Canadian co-pro. I'm not sure, whatever. But it's really fun because it is like insane, but just really, yeah. I don't want to say anything about it other than go watch that. It's called Bloody Hell. I should look up to make sure we got the right one because I think there's a bunch of movies called Bloody Hell.
Yeah, there are a bunch.
Isn't that what Jane says when she stubs her toe?
Pretty much, yes. I say Bloody Hell.
Is it a dude holding a gun on the cover? 2021.
I think it is 2021. I think so.
With some bad makeup. Looks like bad aliens.
Oh, what? No, on Bloody Hell?
I don't know. Some dude with I don't know.
It's a 2020. 2020 movie, horror comedy. It's yeah. I mean, I can't find a. Oh, there's an exclusive trailer. Let me see if I can find that. There you go. Yep, that's it.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
I've got the trailer.
Okay,
I'll put the trailer in the link. I'll put a link to the trailer in here. It was really fun, really fun. Here's the thing. I just enjoy things that are different. I like seeing things and being surprised, whether it's surprised in a good way or even a bad way. There's something. I mean, I will watch things through to the end in a lot of cases, unless it's torture porn at the beginning. If you start murdering young women or anybody at the beginning of a movie and you start slicing them up, I'm not really interested. You know what I mean? I just not, you know. But there's another one that's on Shudder as well called Blue Hell, I think it's called. That's also really good. I think it's
Have you tried that Shudder movie or the Shudder channel has a series that kind of reminded me of Tales from the Crypt or something, except it's maybe a morgue.
I never watched this series. I only ever watched their movies.
Gosh, I know you would know this guy if I could put him in front. He does SpongeBob SquarePants, the Mr. Krabs voice.
Oh yeah,
so he's the long stringy haired mortician or something.
Oh, cool.
It looks really good.
Oh, okay, I'll have to check that out. I don't watch the shows. I only ever watch the movies because they've got all sorts of weird. They got weird old ones, and like I watch old ones from the 1970s and stuff. Which I've got to say, they're like the movies back in the night. Well, shouldn't say 1970s, probably 1980s actually. So real 1980s movie. There you go. They're incredibly slow. Like they just, I can't believe how little they got away with. Like how they would draw it out and until you're like, what the hell? When do we get, because we're so used to like terrible things happening at the beginning and then, and sort of running from there. Because
Did you ever watch Chuck Norris?
Oh yeah, the Octagon
horror film. No. It wasn't the Octagon. There was a Friday the 13th kind of bad guy. He got injected with something.
Really?
And so he was basically unkillable, but he was a mass murderer. And so Chuck Norris is fighting this dude all over the place.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it was so...
I remember that we used to go and see the Chuck Norris movies because there was like the Octagon and there was like a good guys wear black. Remember that?
What the hell? Yes, I loved it. I liked it when Bruce Lee tore out 2 handfuls of Chuck Norris's chest hair. I can't remember what movie it was.
Really?
Oh, that was the one with the big fight scene between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it was really...
Enter the Dragon?
Great.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Enter the Dragon?
He grabbed 2 handfuls. He grabbed his chest hair.
Yeah.
2 handfuls and goes...
That's just... God, that just hurts to even think about.
Yep.
Free Guy. Free Guy was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was... I mean, yeah. Look, I love Ryan Reynolds. I just think he's funny. He's just he's fun. He's funny. He's like the guy can basically do no wrong. Yep. Him and Keanu Reeves. I also saw.
I'd buy blues from that guy.
Did you see John Wick 4 yet?
I have not.
It's pretty fun. It's really long.
Is it pretty fun?
Really long. And I found the beginning. I stumbled a bit at the beginning, and then I felt like they ran with it. It was great. And he's fantastic.
Now, are you saying really long in the attention span kind of way, or I'm over 50 and bladder kind of way?
No, like 3 hours. It's a 3-hour movie.
Okay, so you had to go pee like 5 times. Okay,
no, we went to the theater. I don't pee when I'm in the theater. I never leave. I won't leave. If I know it's a 3-hour movie, I pee before I go in, and then there's no way I'm leaving in the middle of the movie.
He brings a bottle.
I bring a bottle, damn it. That's right. Let's see how long it is. Let's see how long John Wick 4 is. How long?
No,
oh, yeah. I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, yeah.
You've not seen that? It's fun. It's worth seeing in the theater if you can, because it's
yeah.
It really is kind of a fun one. Oh, wow. Its first cut was 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's not that long now.
Whoa.
Now it is John Wick 4. Where is it? Where does it say? 2 hours and 49 minutes.
Jesus.
That is a long movie.
What is this, Lord of the Rings?
I don't think it needed to be that long. I gotta say. I really don't. I don't think so. The other thing I've noticed is the movies that I enjoy, other than there's some that are like sometimes there's a mood piece element to it. Like you're watching Lawrence of Arabia, that can go on forever because it's supposed to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like or Fitzcarraldo, it's also it feels like pretty long. But nowadays, like certainly with the horror and the action and the sci-fi stuff, keep it short. I feel like I'd rather leave going like, oh, I wish there was more, than going like, are you done yet? You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's that would be my suggestion to filmmakers.
And
just
that's
make it
why
shorter.
the series is the superior format.
Oh, that's true.
Because you leave every time.
Yeah.
And
All
right. You want more, and you know what? You get more.
Yeah,
there
anthology series. That makes sense. That's true. Yeah. I buy that. I mean, look, I think there's a new series of Black Mirror out too, isn't there?
Have you watched the new series called Fubar?
Sounds like my kind of series.
Fubar. Really? No.
Fubar, starring Arnold effing Schwarzenegger.
No.
What? And it is unbelievable.
Seriously?
Oh my God, this is a thing. What the heck?
What the hell?
Fubar. He's like a 70, almost an octogenarian spy guy, and it's just chef kiss.
How did I not even know this was a thing?
I've never even heard of it.
It is unbelievable. Fubar.
Okay, so this is why.
Yeah.
This is how screwed we are. What do you do if you make a TV series with Arnold Schwarzenegger and we don't know that it exists and it's already airing?
Well, that's a you problem, man. I don't know what happened to you, but yeah.
It aired. Well, were they doing episodic or just dump the whole thing like Netflix usually does? Like it's May 25th.
I don't know.
Started May 25th.
I prefer that.
Okay, yeah, I saw them all.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
Like
I want to watch it.
The whole season aired over a week ago. Arnold is in it, and none of us know. Like,
yeah, that's pretty wild. But then again,
I might have like a sixth sense about Arnold things. I was like, wait.
This is also the issue with social media. Like if I'm not on Twitter and stuff, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and there's too much stuff.
But I don't care. Like I truly don't care. Like I've got to. The reason why I started like cutting back on it was that I was feeling like almost a sense of dread when I went on, because invariably I realized I was finding stuff that I was getting upset about. Right?
Yeah.
I'd get really upset about something that I didn't know about, and most of the people I follow are fantastic. But for some reason, I don't know whether the algorithms changed or what the deal is, but I'm seeing all of this shock video stuff.
I get stuff from Elon every day.
I've got him blocked and I still get stuff.
Him.
I get Elon stuff and I blocked Elon, so I don't know what, maybe that's the problem. I blocked him, so
he keeps saying stupid crap, so it's probably for the better.
Here's the deal, buddy. I get mad too, and I look at it and I open up the thing, right? I open up a response and I go, oh wait, I don't care that much. And this is just this person. They're not going to change their mind. Yeah. So, and then I go up and I leave and I don't even think about it.
You know what? It's more for me. It's been the video stuff. It's been like, oh God, why did he hit her or whatever? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting a lot more of that. And maybe it's not just Twitter, maybe it's just everything, but you can't, I feel like I come out of watching of using social media with a kind of like a PTSD. Like I feel like I'm like kind of shaken by like all the different things that I've seen in it just seems to undermine where it used to buoy me up. It used to like fill me with excitement about the world and the people in it. And I'm feeling more and more now, especially Twitter, which is where I spent most of my time, to be fair.
You recommended Crypt Camp to me, and that lifted me way.
What a great flick. Great flick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Best
documentary in human history. Crypt Camp, watch it. If you haven't, you're wrong.
It is fantastic. It really is. It's just one of those, I'm not sure the documentaries, I never know how to judge a documentary. Like I feel like I shouldn't, either I want it to be incredibly stylish and cool, or I just want them to stay the hell out of it and just tell the story. And they did a great job of this one of just telling the story, and using not great footage. They put together an amazing
it was
story.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about now? Sorry.
Crypt
Go ahead.
Camp. Crypt Camp.
Crypt Camp?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Sure.
stunning, absolutely stunning. It's well, Lance, you should talk to this.
I got a little frog in my throat. Okay, yeah.
Did you guys watch
So-
the Michael J. Fox documentary?
Not yet. That's one
Yeah,
I've got
I
to
have
see
not.
too. Yeah,
I
I
Oh,
gotta
should.
see it.
guys.
Yeah,
It's
I hear that's
extremely well done.
I hear that's great.
It is extremely well done.
This was not Crypt Camp was not so much. I mean, disagree if you want, Lance, but I didn't feel it was particularly well crafted or anything. I just felt that they had access to footage that was just extraordinary.
That's what
Yes,
made the
but-
Michael J. Fox one amazing. Was the way they wove in the archive footage.
The editing. I didn't know until, I became a star. How much editing really counts.
He's already jaded.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
give him
that's
you
it.
give him a 10-minute
Yeah.
10-minute freaking Google video,
Yeah.
and we can't
None
shut
of
him up
us
anymore.
was made for live. We all require heavy amounts of editing. It's true, and makeup in my case. But yeah.
But it's just the thing they didn't leave out. Okay. There's a lady with cerebral palsy. Now she's probably in her 70s now.
Mm.
So back in the 70s, she was a young woman, late teens, early 20s.
Mm.
And, nobody ever even offered to have sex with her.
Mm.
And one of the buses that was taking them to various sit-ins or whatever, she propositioned the bus driver.
Mm.
And
Okay.
they ended up actually having sex.
Mm.
And then
Okay.
several months later, they thought she was having an appendicitis
Mm.
because of the pain and stuff she was having. They took out her appendicitis and her appendix, and they're like, dang,
That's not it. Yep.
That's not it. So then they did a pelvic exam and determined that she had gonorrhea. And so, there's a couple lessons there. They didn't test her for, if it was
Yeah,
David, of course
they made an assumption,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So that was cool. But then
I
she's
loved how
telling the
proud
story.
she was of it.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
for a minute, I was very proud. But then
She-
I thought, oh, I got gonorrhea.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was, I mean, I think for people without, I guess, those specific disabilities, you just don't think of, you don't think of people with disabilities with as sexual beings. And this
Right.
this film had such respect for the people to such an extent where in a lot of movies, they would just, I think they would sort of speed through some of the interviews. Perhaps they would have cut them down a bit and
Yeah.
stuff. But they were like, no, this is how she speaks, and we are going to listen to her finish her sentence.
Can I tell you the truth? I
Mm.
wish they wouldn't have put subtitle. I know
Yeah,
that sounds weird, but
yeah.
I'd rather people go, what? And then go back and watch it. Because
Well-
it's really, since I was in special ed my
Mm,
entire school life, because all of us disabled kids had to go to the same school,
right.
we can pick it up pretty easily. Even my sister can.
Oh, really?
My mom's, yeah.
Because
So,
so get this: the second or third time that she spoke, I put my hand over the bottom of the TV
Yeah.
to see if I could, just in my vision, to see if I could figure out what she was saying, and I couldn't. So I was definitely thankful for the
look at
Hey,
you.
that's an interesting idea for media
You
pipe.
make me
Sick.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep, that's me. That's an interesting take for media pipe though, because it could be used if you fed it long enough. People speaking with that kind of an impediment, I guess, or whatever the term would be. I'm not sure. Sorry if I said it wrong.
Works for me.
Well, just in general. But
Yeah.
but if you fed it enough of that information, it could translate for them. You could translate it, right? Because it's got
You know
audio
what? That
recognition
would
on
be
it.
fantastic. As long as all of the quirks, actually, the quirks wouldn't have to be repeatable, right? They wouldn't have to have a rhythm to them or anything. It could figure it out.
Yeah.
They can't use dragon or anything like that.
Well,
And they have a hard time with their hands. So that would
Mm.
really help them with communication.
That could be interesting because it would be. And what's great about the AI side of that is that the AI, you could train it. You could train it with your own data set. So you train it with your own data set. So it's learning exactly the way you speak, which is part of the issue, right? I mean, as you say, once you're used to listening to it, you probably get good at it. But even just being able to have the subtitles for people in general, I think would just be, I mean, again, just to make things, the more you can, allow for conversation and stuff, would just be, I don't know. You got to watch this, everyone. I put a link in the chat. You have to see this movie because it's just, it really is another world. It's another world. And it's not disability porn. It's really, it's exciting. It's exciting
Dude,
to see.
I just cried and cried for parts of it.
You such a suck.
Dude, I have had the exact same feeling. There was a main character lady who had polio.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And her name was Judy, I think.
Yeah.
And Judy Human was her actual last name.
Yeah.
And, she got passed. Okay, they passed the Americans, what was it called? The Rehabilitation Act. It actually was geared towards soldiers and vets.
Yeah.
And at the very end, they throw a little clause for the disabled. And that actually got taken away and then put back. And then all the teeth in it was taken out. There really was, it was there, but there were no real remedies you could find.
The idea that there was the whole point was that buildings were supposed to be made accessible for everybody.
Right. If they were new. Right.
So they put that in writing, but then there was no follow-up. So no one was, everyone was like, what a waste of money. So we got to save costs. And the best way to do it is to stop people from having access to these buildings. So politician.
I mean, I can't tell you how often I've heard that. Oh, it's the cost. You know how much that will cost? Are we just going to help you, Lance? You think that's that important? Well, yeah, if I'm going to be a teacher at the school, I'm going to go ahead and say, a ramp might be a thing. But
it's not just for you. The whole point is that once you built it and once you've established a connection between people with disabilities who are able to teach, it means that other people with disabilities can teach. Right?
And more students will come in too.
And they'll have access to that.
A lot of parents are keeping their kids at home. I think that's one of the things about the show. A lot of these kids didn't get to go out at all. And then they had to be looked after. Camp run by hippies and people who didn't really know how
freaking
to
hippies.
Yeah.
Crazy hippies. Like stoner crazy hippies. They were I thought of Lance immediately when I saw this movie. I was like, dude, you would have freaking loved it. He'd have been the biggest troublemaker. He'd have been the biggest troublemaker at Crip Camp, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Not the biggest troublemaker. Casanova.
The director.
Yeah.
True. Like that one kid. Oh,
yeah.
But okay, the director of the camp has a big beard, smoking a cigarette all the time.
Yeah.
And he's out digging post holes. They're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I noticed a lot of these kids walk funny, and if I dig some holes, they'll probably trip, and that would be hilarious." So it's jokes like that.
I mean, he was stoned out of his head too. Yeah. That was part of it.
But he didn't mean that. He was digging post holes to put up a fence, but he made the joke, and I love that.
Well, that was it. It just had a kind of a. It was, like me. I am not a big hippie fan. Like all this smelly long hair stuff doesn't really work for me. But there's something about this situation where there truly was. I mean, I cannot imagine a more horrible place to ever be, because I'm not good with lots of people, as we've just discussed. But the idea that these kids were like, not abusively locked away in a room somewhere. I mean, maybe in some cases, but basically that was the only way people could look after them, because they had to be carried up and down stairs because there were no freaking ramps,
Right.
There was no school was just like, was in the basement. Was it they saying like it was in the basement? It was just all.
Dude, yeah. I was in the basement.
Well, that might have had something to do with you.
Garden. Well, it was more so that when I hulked out, they didn't, minimize damage.
Right.
But,
right.
And then I liked the cerebral palsy guy. It's like one of the camp counselors. And you gotta remember, he's like 17, she's like 18, and she taught him how to kiss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's the best day of my life." I
Yeah.
love that so much. I just like.
Because they're
I was gonna say,
teenagers.
yes,
It doesn't matter what they look like and all the problems that they've got in our perception of things.
exactly.
They're still teenagers. There's still a bunch of horny teenagers who want to go and party and act like idiots. And there's a wonderful scene where they all get crabs.
Oh, they got crabs. Yeah.
They got crabs.
But if they want to smoke, they hook them up with the smoke.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then the girl, the woman who was, like I said, the
She
main,
was boy.
she was
Yeah.
great. They did like a 36-hour sit-in with all disabled people.
Yeah. Helped out by the Black Panthers.
That's so cool.
Isn't that wild?
But
Yeah.
she gets 20 years down the road. They finally passed the Americans with Disabilities Act, and she's crying while she's being interviewed. And she said, "I just spent 20 years fighting, so I had a bathroom I could go to the bathroom in." And that's all I got out of all
And
this.
I'm supposed to be thankful. I'm supposed to be thankful for the fact that I can pee in public
I'm supposed
now.
to be grateful that these people, lowered themselves to put in a bathroom so I could go pee. Not make me equal, not integrate me into society, not any of that. Just now you can go to the restroom like other people, and that's supposed to be your triumph. And look how hard she worked. And I think the reason I cry is because I felt it so much. So letters to the editor about how horrible I am. People over and over calling me names. Stacked things in front of my doors. And all I really did was fight to get a job.
Yeah. Which you shouldn't have had to fight for. Which you earned anyways.
When I go to the teacher's lounge and I look around how stupid they were, and I go, I am so overqualified for this job. Because, they would ask me math questions because they didn't think about it. They just went by rote like they learned in school. They didn't understand the things they were doing. Like the calculus teacher, they brought me in all the time because they didn't understand. They knew they had to make something negative or whatever, but not why. So, I don't know. It just made me crazy.
It's weird, though. There's people in every profession, though, isn't there? That, I always just assumed that everyone would be fascinated by every aspect of what they do. But the reality is some people just go through the motions. Right?
I think a lot of teachers become teachers. Not a lot. I'm not gonna. Okay, let me back that up. I feel like that's another statement.
I can almost hear the sabers rattling. Yeah.
I'm gonna say there are some who want to relive those days forever, or be more important than they were when they were in high school amongst those same kids.
That's interesting.
Like they'll always.
I'll show you.
Well, they'll hang out with the cool kids, and they'll mock the weird kids. And you're like, you're strange, dude. I hated the rich kids and the popular ones, and I like the weirdos. Well, the funny weirdos.
I was a weird, rich, popular kid. That was my. That was my mix.
If I'd have made fun of your hair as a teacher, but like in a funny way, would you have gone off?
God. No, I would. No. I like the weirdos. We had a school of weirdos. Okay. Like our teachers were very. It was a strange, eclectic bunch of people.
Okay, good.
But
like you said, they let you bring a gun into school, so yeah.
No.
Or was it a knife?
That was a bomb.
What?
It was a homemade bomb, and they didn't let me. They just didn't know. Yeah. That was back in the good old days when you could do things like that without malice somehow. You know what I mean? I didn't bring it in to hurt anybody. I brought it in to show that you could do it, which is I'm sure.
I thought that Vincenzo was telling a story that you guys were making a movie.
Oh, making the movie. Oh yeah, no, we had guns then. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were making the movie in school, right?
Yeah, we had the school opened up for us during the summer so that we could shoot a movie there, and it was about shooting our math teacher.
See, they would never let you use that now.
No, we'd all be in some special ed school.
Years.
Yeah, we'd all be like in juvie somewhere and in trouble. Yeah, absolutely for sure. Yeah, And again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because times have changed, obviously. But you know,
Who is it?
yeah, I do think it's going to be. I think, yeah, I think we unfortunately we have to worry about those things in a way that we didn't have to back then. I mean, it seems sort of naive, but you know, I would be, you know, I mean, I remember Baz. I think I must have been in elementary school where he said where a kid claimed to have a gun in his backpack, and we'd been living in L.A. So I was like, "That's that's a problem. We need to talk to someone right now about this."
Yeah.
And everyone just laughed at us. They're like, "No one's gonna have a gun up. No one's gonna have a gun up here." And I was like, "Until they do, no kid should be saying that. They will be killed." You know what I mean? Like it's not. You know what I mean? Like it was but at the same time, I think it's, and they probably thought it was depressing that I took it seriously, right? Because they're like, oh my God, the Americans, they think we're really going to have guns. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm with you though, because, okay, you overlook it and then the shooting happens and then who's the assholes?
Yeah.
It's going to be everybody that ignored him.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to teach people the importance of that stuff. I mean, I don't remember there being guns particularly. Well, I mean, it's Canada again. We don't have, although Canada, there's a lot of guns in Canada, a lot of them, because they're all hunting rifles, right?
Right, not machine guns.
Not machine guns. We don't tend to do that. That doesn't seem like a very fun way to hunt things. Although I don't even know why we hunt anything, anyways. But he says the guy with a box full of crickets about to be fed to a gecko. You know. But what was the point? Something about, yeah. So the school was very supportive and let us do that. But yes, we would have gotten a lot of trouble. I would have been in huge trouble because at age 7 I was lighting fires behind the school, trying to figure out what was explosive and what wasn't. Luckily, I was very bad at science and didn't realize that the can was the explosive part, not the shaving cream in it. Yeah, I thought I was like, stand back. I put a bit of shaving cream and I lit it and it didn't light. I was like, this is stupid. Why does it say it's going to blow up? You know, luckily I didn't think to light it because that also probably would have torched some poor kid. But yeah, I set 2 or 3 fires behind the school when I was 7 years old. Yeah.
Hey, but my sister and I lit
I put them out again, but
tissue paper on fire on my grandma's couch, and then we had to I put it out, and the couch got I think they were plastic back then.
Oh yeah,
whatever. So it kind of turned hard and melted.
The melty plastic. Oh God, that's the worst. Yeah.
And smell. Yeah. Oh my God.
Remember those old?
Grandma was a drinker.
Yeah. I guess she must have spilled something. The burns, the cigarette burns and everything. Remember that? All the seats of everywhere you went, whenever you traveled anywhere, there was a cigarette burn in like every plane you got into. There was always a burn inside. Yeah, it was wretched.
Did your parents ever have like a really tall ashtray that kind of sat between them or whatever? They could had those.
My father quit smoking when my mom became pregnant with me. And became an incredibly strict I would have said embarrassing anti-smoker. Of course, which is what I am now. I'm embarrassingly anti-smoker because I'm like it's stupid and I have to smell it. So you know, it just seems ludicrous to me that why I don't know anyone smokes.
To be fair, he did allow her to drink twice as much as usual. So to make up.
What was that? He let her drink. That's right. Yeah.
You guys drink twice as much as usual, to calm down those smoking urges. So that's good.
Although, to be fair, the funny thing is when I did drink, God, I don't do anything anymore. I am so boring.
It's so boring.
I'm like the dullest man alive now. Alan, do you drink?
Oh, very infrequently.
Yeah. I sort of started again.
I just do it like as a barely even social. Like if we're going out to eat, maybe I'll do like a cider or something.
Oh, I love cider. My problem is
I'm a sucker for. Actually, speaking of which, I came back from Canada with this Growers cider company.
Oh, Growlers, yeah, or
Growlers.
Yeah. Is it Growers or Growlers or something?
You can't get it here. I have 2 cans of this left, and I refuse to drink them because they were so damn good.
I guess when I'm going to the postal office to post James R. Gurney's key,
I need you to send me. I need you to send me.
I can't send alcohol. No, you know what happened? That's prohibition, buddy. I'd go to jail for that.
I know.
That kind of sucks. Is there no way to get?
You're allowed to bring like a certain number of liters across the border. So I'm just gonna have to come visit again and fill up.
That's it. Fill up on alcohol. That's it. On the one alcohol you drink.
It's barely even alcohol. It's cider. It's not like it's
cider.
Cider's
Cider's actually surprisingly alcoholic in a lot of cases.
Let me look. I'm reading the can.
I'm guessing it's probably at least 4%, 4 point something.
Hold on. I'm looking. I have one of the empty cans on my shelf here.
It could be 8%. It could be 8.
Is that why it's so good?
Possibly. Just because you're annihilated after one.
It's 5%.
There you go, 5%. See? That's not
okay.
That's a good.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's cider is I absolutely love cider. My problem with the alcohol is it's easier not to drink now because it's harder. Maybe it's just the company I keep, but I find you go out for a drink, and then no one has one drink. It's all, and then you're like, two's fine, and then you're like, after two, trying to say no to somebody who wants to get you a drink is. The other thing is people always want to buy me drinks because I'm such an amazing guy.
Me too.
But in all seriousness, everyone always wants to. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they want. I guess it's an act. It's a TV thing.
So cool.
The TV thing. It's like, hey, you're on TV. I should buy you a drink.
Well, then you can say later that you bought that person a drink.
Right.
Yep.
Like,
right.
Kind of a
Well, so what I've started doing now is I quite like. I mean, I feel silly because I don't want to spend a lot of money on a drink that doesn't kick me in the head the way I like. But I've tried these. I do these mock cocktails now as well. I'll tell you, there's a place called Fresh up here that is a vegan restaurant, which I can't believe I'm recommending. But it's all vegan. They have a great veggie burger, and they make their own ginger ale, and it's not even sweet. It's like almost an unsweetened or slightly sweetened ginger. And I'm like, I have got him. My mouth is watering talking about it. It was so good. It was, amazing. Snake bite. Yeah, that was good. Oh, now everyone's going to talk about alcohol and make me feel like, God damn it. I maybe have 2 bottles of whiskey a year. Yeah, whiskey was good. I love whiskey.
What the hell?
Yeah. I could drink a bottle of whiskey at a night.
That's what my dream was, yeah.
Drinking whiskey?
No, you were.
Oh.
That's the one where I told you that you were like...
Oh, that's right.
Going,
yeah.
You know the best thing about being famous? They write your obituary in advance.
I love that quote. I've got to say it at some point.
You should, yeah.
Oh, crap. What was I going to say?
Drinking. We're all drinking. We're drunk.
Drinking whiskey.
Wine,
yummy, non-alcoholic. No, can't remember.
Riesling.
Oh, there was a company.
Was the only wine. Go ahead.
No, go Riesling. Riesling's all right.
Riesling was that's
too
the only
sweet.
thing I could drink.
A little sweet.
It was tasty.
I like very, very dry. Big on really, really dry. I really like dry. Now I really want to drink.
That's the English in you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that my father got into Drambuie for medical purposes. I like that.
What's Drambuie?
Drambuie is it's almost like a liqueur, isn't it? Something like that. Is it Drambuie? It makes me feel ill, so I must have drunk it at some point. The alcohol thing is fascinating because they're now talking about putting cancer stickers on it the way they do that on cigarettes here. Because
really?
Because apparently the alcohol actually has been shown to mutate the cells. Like it's carcinogenic basically. And they're saying like, what's a good amount of alcohol to drink? None. Right?
I'll be dang.
I know, and I'm not a big healthy guy, as you probably can tell by looking at me. But my biggest thing with alcohol was it's a control thing for me. I just felt like it was getting to you get to 4:00 at night, and I'd be like, 4:00 in the evening, and I'd be like, I want to drink, and you're like, because I had a good day, or because I had a bad day, or what, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, and it used to be fun. It used to be you'd go out with your friends and you have drinks. That was the only time you ever drank. And then you become a grown-up, and all of a sudden there's like liquor cabinets and glasses of wine, and the you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you're sitting around with a bunch of 50-year-old drunks. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do that. Not that my friends are all 50-year-old drunks, but I mean, I just don't think there's anything glamorous or fun about. Well, I remember as a kid looking at older people when they were drunk and thinking that's just disgusting. And now I look at young people.
So dumb.
And now I look at young people and I go, oh, that's just disgusting. So but
young people in general, right?
Yeah,
Not
well,
drunk
just in
ones,
general. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay, yeah.
It's fascinating to me that my son, who is 15 going on, he'll be 16 in October. Now, of course, I don't have a clue what's going on in his life, I'm sure. But the sense I get from him is that he's just not interested. He doesn't want to, he sees no interest in getting weight. Like, it was always like a rite of passage growing up. I don't know if this was the same for you guys. But for me, it was like, yeah, you're not a man. It's you got drunk and puked all over yourself and acted like an idiot and had to come in and face everyone the next day. You know what I mean? Like, that was like.
And they did it every weekend too.
And then that's right. And then you do it every weekend. And it was almost competitive in nature, in that you would drink.
Yep.
Like it was like oh yeah, well I drank a bottle and a half of that, and I was like
and you're like you're lying, you dead.
And then the stories, you get the stories of like oh my god, so and so got taken to hospital, they had to get their stomach pumped because of the whatever, So yeah, lots of issues there. And also the Brits, let's face it, the Brits can drink like nobody else. Maybe the Australians. The Australians are good too.
Because drinking intensifies your emotions, and Brits don't have any. So that's...
Jesus. Well, there you go. Let's alienate most of my friends. Yeah, it's interesting though. I feel like drinking is a competitive sport in England, basically. It is absolutely a social requirement, and it's much easier, I found, to just go, "Oh no, I don't drink," and then everyone basically gets embarrassed and leaves you alone. But yeah, or the other one that I was telling my nieces the other day, as I said, like get yourself a cranberry and vodka. Have that first cranberry and vodka.
My preferred drink.
And then just drink vodka and soda
for
the rest of the night. So you start with your vodka, you have your fill, you have your couple little drinks, so everyone's happy, and then you can socially drink without having to worry about getting wasted that when you're having trouble with the switch, as I call it, like if you can't find the switch to know when to stop. Some people don't. I always had a switch when I was young. I would get to a point where I'd go like, oh boy, if I have this one, I'm fucked. And excuse my language, but I would still do it. I would still do it, but I was aware of where that switch was. And as I got older, you would sort of fumble for the switch every night to make sure that you're not, you don't drink too much. But at some point in my life, I lost it completely. I have no idea where I'm when I've had too many. And one of my someone I'm related to.
What if people roofie
distantly?
You? Yeah.
Well, there's that. That's a whole other thing that we didn't have to worry about, I don't think. But that terrifies me too. Although they've got the cool little sticks. You put a stick in your drink and it'll tell you if anything.
Science.
Isn't that science saves you? That's it exactly. But we were at a wedding. Maybe a wedding is a safer environment. We were at a wedding where a woman came running up, handed me her wine, and ran off to do something, and then came back and picked up the wine from me. And she'd never met me, ever. And I thought, that is an odd. I'm not sure I would do that. Like, you know what I mean? I think I would teach my daughter not to leave her drink unattended with some long-haired freak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't you? I mean, that's just, I don't.
Yep.
Whatever. Anyways, I blame David. I'm a bad influence. Yeah, that's me. That drink tastes like another drink.
Somebody took offense at the English don't have emotions. They said slander, so then I had to quickly blame you instead of.
Oh, very good. Oh, if you could is right.
Yeah.
And apparently James Gurney's also doesn't know how to feel about that either. You know that I'm British too, right? Right, Lance? Like I was born in England, you bastard. I'm just saying, like, just so you know. Yeah. David Hewlett. Another problem with drinking is that what was $4 a few years ago is almost like 20. That's true.
That's true.
The expense as well. Like, I don't want to. And also, here's the other thing is, I'm an idiot already. I don't need to be stupider. Like, I don't want to pay money to drink something to make me stupider and less funny. You know what I mean? I need
I
all.
don't, I don't
any
even,
benefit I can
I
get.
don't even like. I don't like any of the buzz. Like I don't like. You know what I mean? I like the taste of the drink, but I don't like drinking enough
Oh,
of it.
see, I
I'm the
hate that.
complete
Buzz out of it.
opposite. I'm the complete
Yeah.
opposite.
No.
There's a few things that I do like the taste of, to be fair, but I think it's an acquired taste. But for the most part, it's the buzz, not the drink for me.
Yeah, buzz
But
does
I
nothing
just
for me.
like that warm buzz, not that. Oh, I'm mentally impaired now.
Yeah,
Mm.
right.
Well, that's an interesting thing. There's I'll have to do an email of awesomeness about this. But there's a company in England there was this guy who was commissioned to do a study on alcohol in England by the government, and then he gave them the report, and they promptly fired him and buried the report because the report was basically.
Oh.
The report was basically, this is freaking killing people and costing the country billions of dollars every year in
Right.
in police and lost work and blah blah blah. Anyways, so he then went on. He's trying to create drinks that I guess excite the right parts of the brain, but that don't compound. So the idea is that you have a drink.
Oh,
You say
okay.
like, give me a double, and that double will sustain you at the level of a double drink all night.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the more you drink, it's like
Oh.
vitamin C. If you drink too much of it, you just pee it out. You only use the stuff that you need, and it doesn't continue to build, and you don't get drunker and drunker and stupider. So I guess you could say, give me a 5. Give me 5 drinks. I want to get wasted. But it's not. But it's also not.
It's never gonna. Yeah.
It's also not a physical issue. It's not affecting the heart. It's not affecting all the other issues because the other thing is alcohol is just bad for you in general, anyways, right? So, look, I don't want to sound like a freaking teetotaling idiot.
You can be.
I just struggle with this stuff, which I never thought
okay.
I would.
I'll bet this. Good.
Well, I was gonna say,
I'll bet
but-
this
but-
happened to you. Go ahead.
When I say struggle, I just mean like I struggle with the concept of it more than I struggle with the physicality, if that makes sense. Does that make
Right.
sense? Like I don't. Yeah, I was right. Go ahead.
Now
I just
you're
wanna
cheap,
clarify.
right?
Yeah, damn right.
Damn right. Okay, so I go out with the guys.
Mhm.
There's 5 guys. I can only have 1 drink. And
Right.
That's it. I mean, I can't even do that. I drink half a drink and I switch to, like a Sprite or something.
Because it affects you.
And yeah, I'm just a little dude. Like I don't even weigh 100 pounds. Well, I weigh 100 pounds
Oh,
now.
right. Of course. Yeah.
So.
Well,
and
now
I'm
that
not
your head is
interested
so
in-
big, I'm sure you're 100
Yeah.
pounds now, probably. Yeah.
Right, 150.
A little
now.
top
But
heavy.
that's, yeah. Actually, if you saw me in a swimming pool, you go, "Oh, this makes sense." It's just like my butt's up in the air and my head's underwater. But
Mm.
anyway, so, okay, so you go out with the guys. There's like 5 of you. I have my 1 drink, and then it's my responsibility to buy the next round. And it's like $100, and you're like, "What the hell?"
Well,
I have
that's
1 drink.
that's where I started beginning to resent things a bit when we'd go out for dinner, and everyone drank except me, and they're like, "Okay, that's $500." You're like, $500? I had a freaking pop. I had a pop and but but again, that's the guy.
I knew the money. Yeah,
I don't want to
that
be
would
I don't
get
want to
me.
be too much of a cheap bastard. But the reason why I started again fairly recently was because of the social aspect. I just found I felt it was getting in the not drinking was getting in the way of my interactions with people, and to some extent with my wife as well, because my wife loves her wine. Not in a huge amount.
Right.
Although she's
Perfectly
capable of it.
sensible.
She's sensible about it. Yeah, absolutely. But as a result, it just sometimes feels weird. Like I didn't want her to not have a drink because I'm not. You know what I mean? Like there was that kind of thing. But now I've just gone like, you know what? Screw it. It's just easier just not to. We'll see how long that lasts for until I'm back on the bottle again. But you can drink non-alcoholic drinks. I know, but Pixie Rose, the deal with... Hey, Pixie Rose! First off, hello, Pixie Rose!
Thank you, Rose.
And secondly, non-alcoholic drinks mainly suck. I mean, ones that are designed to mimic alcohol, I find are
Have
pretty...
you had a Shirley Temple, my friend?
Too sweet! Too sweet!
Too sweet.
Yes!
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm not a
how about
child.
How about a Roy Rogers? How about that?
What's a Roy Rogers?
It's a Shirley Temple, but for boys.
Well, that's very descriptive. I'm sure
There.
you can taste it already.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right then.
No, it's
Yeah.
No, I like
It's
ginger
just-
ginger beer. Ginger beer is what I go for when
7
I
Up
can.
and what's that, sister? What's that syrup that we put that makes stuff red and they put maraschino cherries in?
Oh yeah,
Grenadine.
grenadine. Yeah, isn't grenadine alcoholic though?
No, it's just like, I think it's just a syrup, a pomegranate syrup.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Sober life. I preferred the green stuff, but now I'm 32 and I just can't smoke like I used to. Oh, really? The green stuff. Never liked. See, I never liked the smoke. I was never a smoke. I mean, I liked cigarettes. I was big on, but anything else, no. I never. I was really weird. I was weird that way. For some reason, I was fine to put way too much alcohol in my system and muddle my brain that way. But everything else, it was never worked for me. None of that ever worked for me.
Well,
Grenadine. Thank you, James.
yeah. I had a back surgery when I was 12, and I knew I was always in pain. And then guess what? My older brother, who was 5 years older, he was, as you know, an interesting fellow.
Yeah.
So, like, I had smoked a little bit of weed the summer of 6th grade.
Mm.
And then by, like, high school, it was, like, at least a couple times a day, probably 3.
And did it help?
For sleeping and stuff, yeah.
Mm.
The rest of the time was just a hoot. But,
it never appealed to me. It was the weirdest thing. It was always I was either paranoia or just discomfort or I never understood. And people always talked about how it helped them relax, and I would just watch them get more uptight. I was like, you think you're relaxed, but I don't think you are. You know,
Somehow I was one of the few guys on the submarine that didn't smoke or drink coffee.
Coffee is a
they
difficult
smoke
one.
on a submarine? What the
Doesn't that
hell?
seem like trouble? Smoking on a submarine? There must be a special section
Yes, they have special areas
with an open window.
No, yeah, you just roll it right down.
Yeah,
No problem. Just
Done.
hanging out the window. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you just stand next to the screen door and you're fine.
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Don't forget to close the screen door. Yeah.
There's ventilation. There's areas where most of the ventilation suctions are concentrated before
Right.
it goes through all the filtering and everything else. And so that's where people. There's a couple like smoking areas.
Mm.
And it's I kind of wish they weren't there because you can only filter so much of that out, and like the whole submarine kind of smells like.
Well, that's it.
crap.
God. I mean, well, here it's all pot smoke now, right? So every time I do a dog walk, it smells like someone's just murdered a skunk because there's just this stench everywhere. I am turning into such an old man. I'm gonna go live in the country and no one won't be around anybody. Dan Watt has a question for you, as he says, submarine guy. I like that. Hey, submarine guy. How's the Chia project going?
Oh, we need a Chia update.
Yeah, well, Chia is, just so people know, Chia is a slightly different form of cryptocurrency.
It's cryptocurrency that's doing hard drive. You used to use hard drives for them instead of graphics cards.
Yeah, so it's like proof of stake rather than proof of
space and time. Actually,
it's like a
How's that
Time
for
Lord,
sci-fi?
Time Lord
Yep.
coin. I like it.
Actually, there is a component of the Chia blockchain network that's some systems called Time Lords.
Oh,
They
really?
That's actually worked into
Gotta
it.
love
yes.
the nerds. I love the nerds. They'll just
The
like,
nerds- the nerds are-
we
the
should
nerds are
call
part of
ourselves
the-
Time Lords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
I would
and
do the
it's
same
funny
thing.
Because,
Yeah.
It's funny because the Time Lords are doing math in such a way that only the fastest one wins.
Oh.
So it's like, it's the one.
But wait, I
small
thought it
piece of
wasn't-
Chia- Well, because it's only a couple of systems.
Okay.
It's only like a few computers. It's not like any. You don't get anything out of competing for who has the fastest Time Lord.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Who has the
Yeah.
fastest Time Lord?
I know it's so funny.
I
It's
want
so funny.
to do Chia just so I can say that. That's like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's people competing. I have thought to do it. Anyway, so how's the Chia thing going? I have how many total size of Chia plots? 4.092 petabytes.
Wow.
What?
4
Is that-
petabytes.
Is that making you any money?
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't.
Well, people do. But it's still making money even in this sort of in the crypto
So for
apocalypse.
4 petabytes worth of chia plots is currently making, as he looks it up on his phone. Yesterday I made $50.
Wait a minute. Do you have to actually have that much drive space?
Yeah,
Or is
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
dedicated to it, right? That you can't use it for anything else.
Yeah, I have 4 petabytes of just chia plots, and then I have another like petabyte of just other
So when you
stuff.
say you've made $50, does that include the electricity and are you amortizing all the drives and stuff into it and everything? I mean, how does that?
No, you take if you take the power away, it's like $10 a day or something, roughly.
I feel like
So
there are
it's like
better investments.
But wait a minute. Yeah,
40 bucks a day for a thing that I haven't like even looked at or touched for several months.
But what did the
I
system
saw-
cost though?
a NAS
I
costs
mean,
like $2,000 for 50 terabytes.
yeah, I mean, that
Where's
was
that from?
money. That was money that I had to spend up
Yeah.
front for computer hardware. But the thing is, it's not like the hardware is worth nothing right now.
Hmm.
Like I could sell those hard drives off for pretty close to what I bought them for.
But here's my question:
Um,
is like, what if you like just started like a cloud hosting platform or something? That would make more than $40 a month, wouldn't it?
No, $40 a day, David.
Oh, $40 a day. Oh, that's not
Yeah.
bad. That's
A
not
day.
too bad. I thought it was a month. I was like, dude,
No,
I do not
a
know
day.
your math, but it does not sound very good to me. So
Yeah,
40
no,
bucks a
it's-
day. Okay. All right. So 40
Yeah.
bucks a day. So that's, and when do you break even? When do you, like, do you ever get a sense of when you'll, or have you broken even? I mean, what's the,
Well,
2,097.
To give you an example, I cashed out like the past year worth
mm,
of what I was doing on there,
mm.
and then I bought a 2019 Tesla Model S with it.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Was this before the apocalypse?
The
Is this-
apocalypse.
Is pre a crypto apocalypse?
I mean, it was making a lot more earlier on. Like if
Yeah.
I had 4 petabytes at the beginning of
Yeah.
the Chia thing, it would have been like thousands of dollars a day. It would have been
Yeah.
ridiculous. Right? But didn't.
I played with all of these at the beginning and then just never followed through on any of them. I mean, I just
Yeah.
didn't.
So
Yeah.
the rough,
It's too
like
much
I want
work.
to say the rough ROI. Like I haven't sat down and done the math recently, but the ROI, the return on investment time, is probably around a year,
Mm.
roughly. So if you bought a hard drive and you filled it with Chia stuff and you just let it do the Chia thing
Mm.
for a year, you would have probably made enough to pay the hard drive off.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
Right. So that's the general gist of it, right? Early on, when it was making profits that made no sense, the ROI was like a week early
What-
on.
And what is Chia used for? Or is it literally just that's it?
It's doing anything blockchain similar to other blockchain like Ethereum and Bitcoin.
What
those
is
things.
Ethereum like now? Has Ethereum gone back up at all or anything? I know there was a bit of a bump apparently during, I guess there was some
Yeah,
rate hikes or something. It went up a little bit or something.
I don't follow them super closely, but like
Mm.
generally the crypto stuff has been going up recently, like slowly. It's nothing crazy.
I haven't
but,
even looked at my wallets for
No.
8 months. Like, I mean, it's been forever. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's probably worth more than it was 8 months ago.
Mm,
No.
yeah. Whoa. Is that a small dog misbehaving?
Probably.
Get this. You want to hear a misbehaving dog story? My friend
Uh-oh.
comes around to walk the dog with me, and the dog comes out to greet my friend. And then then as we're chatting, the neighborhood dog van showed up to get the dog from across the street for a walk.
Oh, okay.
Now she barks at the
cops.
hell out of it every day from the window. Before I could even register that it was
Oh,
that
yeah.
van showing up,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was on its front hood. Literally,
No.
literally leapt up and was barking into the front windshield of a minivan that had yet to fully stop.
This is huzzah.
Yeah, like it wasn't like, when I
Oh
say
my
on the
goodness.
hood, she was like her hind legs she had like one leg up on a bumper and the other one was like she was on the front of this car. And luckily the woman was, she knows she's laughed at my dog barking at her through the window for years now. But so I said to her, look, next time can you come in faster?
Cool.
But and weirdly, dog people do not like jokes about killing dogs. They do
It's
not
weird.
like it.
That's so
Don't like
strange.
it. Yeah.
So weird.
I was like,
I'm
what
so
joke?
surprised.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I was mortified. Well, first off, I was terrified because I thought she was gonna get run over. And then I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? So I think I'm gonna look into dog classes. I got to do something because I've trained every dog we've had, and I cannot train this dog.
Are you going to teach this old dog new tricks, David?
I am going to. She's not that old. I'm the old dog at this point.
Well,
She's teaching me new tricks, and they're like, "Oh God!" and racing to rescue her from the front of a vehicle. All right, I've stayed on for far too long. I've got to run up and say hello to my son and see what the hell I'm making him for dinner.
be a dad and stuff.
I gotta be a dad. Yeah, I gotta.
Yeah.
You know what was really cute? Get this. He's gonna hate me for telling you this, but so the night before Jane gets back, he goes, "You know what, Dad? This has been really cool hanging out with you. Thanks, man." I was like,
Yeah.
Then he just disappears. I'm
Dang.
like, oh my God.
Wow.
Oh
Mark
my
the date on
God.
the calendar, man.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
It's the
yeah,
last night.
right.
Well, of course, then a second later, he's like, "Hey, idiot, where's my whatever?" I mean, so anyway, but isn't that cute? Oh, it's really cute.
Where's
Like
my Chiefs puffs?
exactly,
You got-
we're in my cheese puffs. Exactly.
You had one 5 seconds of clarity.
That was it.
Congratulations.
It was just so cute though, because I had been thinking how much fun it had been. Like again, like we both miss Jane. I miss Jane, obviously, but and it's weird not having adults to talk to around the house. It's amazing how you start talking to the dog and things. But yeah, we sort of settled in this kind of really cute. We were watching like Forged in Fire every night. Have you watched that, Lance, at all?
Heck yeah, they got another one now where they get to take that forged thing and go through an obstacle course chopping stuff.
It's like
It's
Knife or
so
Die
cool.
or something. Is it good?
Yeah. That one.
Oh,
I love it.
I want to. Okay, so we saw that on like on the What to Watch one. So okay, we'll have to check that out. I just like watching them make this stuff, and I like their little reenactments, and I like their like you learn about a blade, a little bit of history. Like that's when you talk about smart educational product. I think that's it. Like no, it's not.
Yeah.
But this. I feel like they could throw a little bit more in there. I like the way they put like definitions for the things they're talking about. It'd be great if they could sort of like maybe throw a couple little animations in there about how the stuff welds together or something. Like other than that, I'm impressed.
Or when the guy goes, "This knife
Will kill.
and then they
I
have
know.
like a little cartoon of a guy slicing somebody's head off.
Well, they don't
That's
have
so
to
funny.
because they've just destroyed a freaking ballistics dummy. Those things are revolting. It's like watching them eviscerate someone. Like, oh yeah, look, it went in. It turned, it pulled all the guts out. I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to eat my dinner with my
Nice.
son here.
Well, that's that whole other show is just them doing that, but timed with their
Really?
made sword. It's awesome.
Oh wow,
Awesome.
okay, all right. But they've made the sword as well.
I think most of them are made. Well, actually, I don't know of anybody that went in with a store bought.
Yeah, I don't know how many sword. I guess yeah. I gotta say, it makes me want to forge. Like just for fun, just to like smack.
I would like to see you forge. I
like
would want
heat
to.
up some metal and just smack it with a hammer a bit, and I just think it'd be kind of fun.
I could see you hitting the old red hot iron with the hammer.
What could go
Turn
wrong?
around
Yeah.
and like 3 spots of your hair are on fire, and you're like, "This is so fun."
You know what I have? So tomorrow I'm going to the community center with the kids there,
Okay, yeah,
and
good.
we're gonna do some
Good.
escape room stuff there. And the idea was I got a bunch of these like downloadable escape room things. Like I actually bought a couple of them in a box of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here's the one. Let me see if I got the box here. Yeah. So I got these.
Nice.
I don't know if they're any good, but they're these cards, and the
We should
cards.
do it with chat.
I know. I'd love to. I mean, we should totally do one. And if I had it together, I would have done it in advance, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I thought I'd bring that because there's like three adventures in there. And I thought there's like 5 tables of 5 kids. It's like freaking 25 kids. So,
Wow.
but I'm printing out these little paper ones, and it's things like this, which I just think is really cute. Where it's like a puzzle that you take the paper and you roll it into a puzzle, and then you have to rotate to find out where the letters line up and stuff. And then the other one that I really like. So what I've done is I've printed it out on a thicker material, so I think it'll be, and I might even try to put it on some cardboardy stuff, so it's a little bit more little more robust. But the one I like,
a toilet roll in there. Go ahead.
it's not quite the right size because I was looking at that.
You already did that. Okay,
Yeah, already
gotcha.
went there. The other one I like is, so this was a paper one that they had, which was, it's just a little lock, and then they provide you like all these little cutouts. So I put them on a foam board, just on the back of an old foam board.
Look at you.
So that they can, so it's just, again, a little bit, so I gotta do five of these. I gotta print out 5 of these things. Anyway, so I like to show people where the Tech Bandits, some of the Tech Bandits money is going. So it's going, I'm quite thrilled that and I thank you that I've been able to do this because of that. So there's going to be 25 kids bored out of their freaking mind as I try to walk them through an escape room.
How many puzzles, different puzzles do you have?
Well, they're stories. Like they're each individual stories. So I've got the one that I want. Like this one is just one murder mystery story. But I'm printing out 5 of them, and I thought I'd time them. So make it a competition to see how fast they can get through it. But right now, I just want to see if there's any interest at their age in escape room stuff. And if there is, I thought maybe I might even this summer. I thought maybe I could, if there's a bunch of people who might want to, we do like a 2-week camp and do like 1 week where we go and visit escape rooms, and then another week to build our own escape room type thing or something like that.
And then all the kids at that camp that are disabled get to make out. That'd be awesome.
That's it. We're gonna set up the Crip Escape Camp. That's right. As like, was it? What was the name of the camp? It wasn't Crip Camp. That was the name of the movie.
It was Camp Jared or something like that.
Yeah. It was
something with a J.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. I also love the way that the disabled community has reclaimed that word. You know, that they sort of they've sort of they got it back somehow. So all right. Everybody, be safe.
Watch on stream.
Be kind. Bye. Be brilliant. Go watch Crip Camp on Netflix. It's brilliant. And also, I got to watch that Michael J. Fox one as well. Malvin Tano, thank you, sir.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cal, you are the best. Much appreciated.
Awesome.
Chat's awesome, as long as they're on my side. Lance, thank you, sir. Gimpy G. And of course, James R. Gurney for always being here to do things faster than I can. All right. Thank you for hanging. Oh my God. Cal just said thank you for hanging out, folk. And I'm sorry I didn't do any shout outs about subscriptions and all that stuff because frankly, we're having too much fun chatting. Everyone sign up for the email of Awesome Awesomeness, by the way. I said to be safe, be kind, be brilliant. It really is. Until we geek again. Cheerio. Huzzah! All right. See you later. Bye.